If you've ever fist pumped after an empty net goal, which completed a hat trick, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, and it's going to be a big day here today with NVIDIA earnings after the bell here today. I know that's everyone's biggest thought, probably going to be the biggest event of the day. Quick look around right now. Everything looks calm on the Western Front so far. We'll see how that changes throughout the course of the day. We do have some news to go through here. We'll look at some stocks and we'll do some trading here today. No Tim Melvin, but I got a special interview with Landon Swan from Likefolio. So we got some other stuff to do here prior to the open. It is Wednesday, November 19th, easy for me to say. And Benzinga's pre-market playbook begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that your Tuesday night went well. I know mine did, between the Oak Island episode last night and that Hawks victory and Connor Bedard hat trick. I went to sleep happy and I woke up just as happy. We've got some more stuff to do here today. The big event, as mentioned, NVIDIA earnings tonight. You guys have trades. Let me know how you're doing that. What direction are you trading it? I am curious. Brian is first here today. Let's go, Brian. Good morning. Welcome back. In before the nuts. That's an interesting handle. Good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge. Good morning. Welcome back. Marty. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter. Good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit. Good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good morning. Cad Monkey and Dara. Good morning. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Bill. What's going on, Bill? Good to see you again. Big Dave. Welcome back. Tara. Welcome back. Kelly for two. Excuse me. Good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, it's good to see you again. Jane, good morning. Jim, good morning. All of the early risers. Only way to do it, Jim. Cam, good morning. Hoot, it's good to see you again. Yes, Mid, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Gary, welcome back. Jeff, hello from Naperville. All right, another Illinoisan out there. How's everything out in Naperville? You're about 45 minutes from me. Good morning, buddy. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Angelito, it's good to see you again. Producers locked in. We couldn't do it without you, producer. Harvey, welcome back. It's good to see you. Day Trader, welcome back. Just passing through, welcome back. Night Slants, good morning. Welcome back. Best Life, good morning. Welcome back. Catherine, good to see you again. Ari Stock Market, welcome back. Lambo Rolls, there he is. Good morning, buddy. Smita, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Yassine and Rustam, welcome back. Rustam, it's good to see you. Kenneth, welcome back. Good morning. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Who else am I missing here? Dan, good morning. Glenn, good morning. ATL Russ, good morning. Perfect Coles, good morning. Chris, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Austin, it's good to see you again. Super Sam, welcome back. And then who do I got there? Uncle Dracula, good morning from Transylvania. I'll take that. Good morning. And Gilbert, good morning. All right, we've got people from all over the place. That's absolutely awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at our stock market today. All right, futures green here ahead of the open, slightly green. S&P futures up 0.27%, Dow futures up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ futures up 0.32% ahead of today's open. As mentioned, all things look quiet on the Western Front, at least so far. We'll see what direction we end up getting today. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session. While energy, healthcare, and real estate stocks recorded the strongest gains on Tuesday, consumer discretionary and information technology closed the session lower, although most S&P 500 sectors finished positively. U.S. stock futures were steady on Wednesday after Tuesday's declines. Futures of major benchmark indices were higher this morning, and so far they are holding higher. They're actually just off their highs as we speak. Investors await NVIDIA's highly anticipated earnings report on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the minutes for the Fed's October FOMC meeting will also be released later today. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.12%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.58%. Now, there are some stocks in focus here today. First one is going to be NVDA, as everyone knows, and they're going to report earnings here today. They are up 0.42% in the pre-market on Wednesday, as analysts expect it to report earnings of $125 per share on revenue of $54.84 billion. Now, the estimates on this, we do kind of think that NVIDIA is going to beat those estimates. How big is yet to be seen. Really, the question comes down to how does NVIDIA trade after this print? Does it pull a Palantir, report good earnings and trade down, or does it continue to take a next leg up? I'm sure that's what everyone's going to be looking for, and some of the things that we're going to be discussing here today. The next stock on our list here is Constellation Energy. That's ticker CEG. It gained 3.49% after it secured a $1 billion Department of Energy loan to restart the Crane Clean Energy Center. This is expected to create 3,400 jobs. DoorDash is the next stock on our list that advanced 2.2% after a Jefferies upgrade from hold to buy and a partnership with Family Dollar to offer on-demand delivery of convenience items, household goods, and more at everyday low prices. It's odd because though a Family Dollar generally discount products, you're just making them more expensive by having them delivered. But nonetheless, that did cause DoorDash here to pop a little bit, and that is holding higher. The next stock on our list here is Baidu, ticker BIDU. That slipped 2.5% despite beating both top and bottom line results as its online marketing revenue or ad revenue dropped 18% year over year to $2.16 billion. The last stock on our list here is Target, affectionately called Target by some, ticker TGT. That was 0.034% higher as analysts expect it to report earnings of $172 per share on revenue of $25.34 billion. Now, it does look like that is out here. The earnings came in at 178, so that slightly beat the estimate. I don't have the sales figure here. We'll pull them up when we take a look at Target. Target, however, trading lower here in the pre-market. We'll see how it does prior to the open. All right, let's start with the charts. Really quickly, I'm just going to clean up here on Target. Here's what the Target chart looks like. The daily chart don't look good. We're down another 3.5% here at 85.42. We are beneath this support. So Target, curious if any of you are going to trade Target here today. If so, are you playing it for a bounce? Do you think there's going to be some more extended downside? Let me know. Real quickly here, it was the 178 EPS beat the 172 estimate that we just talked about, but it was the sales that missed there. 25.27 billion missed the 25.337 billion estimate. And it looks like the guide here was from 7 to 9 to 7 to 8 versus a 736 estimate. So guide wasn't terrible here, but still Target under pressure here today. Did we get any other? Kelsey Advisory maintained a market perform and maintains the 110 price target. So Target under a little bit of pressure here in the pre-market ahead of the open. Let's go back to the SPY chart here. Here's what we're looking at with the SPY chart. Now, we did break out. It does look like the direction that we're in is to the downside here, albeit quite slow. I know the question on every investor's mind is, where do the buy the dippers step in? Because that's been the environment that we're in here. We've broken out of the channel. We've broken beneath the 50-day. We now have two closes beneath the 50-day moving average. So how the market trades here today is actually going to be important. That value at 669.17, we're currently at 662 here in the pre-market. So we would actually need a pretty healthy move in order to recapture that 50-day prior to the third close beneath that level. It's also worth noting that these closes are beneath the 667.34 level, previous all-time high breakout that established the bottom end of that sideways range. Now, we did not quite test the 100-day. Okay, we did not quite test the 100-day yesterday, but we did bounce a little bit. And if you recall back to yesterday's show, we talked a little bit about this. We talked about it had a weekday on Monday. Then we were weak in the pre-market. We gapped down slightly. Then we showed some weakness out of the open. We were talking about it on the show, But we did end up firming up here. Now, we didn't really make any huge move here. It's not as if we went red to green, but we did kind of stop that breakdown at about 655-ish, 655, 656-ish. So that level then will come into play as well if the market turns around here or trades down towards the lows. So this is kind of where we're at with SPY. You have targets on SPY, thoughts on what's going on or where the market's going to go. Would love to hear them. But this is just kind of where we are at prior to the open. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Professor Jeremy Siegel maintains a constructive long-term view on the economy and the stock market, asserting that macro still argues for resilience rather than recession. Despite recent volatility, he does not believe the market has entered a bear cycle, though he remains critical of the Federal Reserve's misguided hawkishness regarding inflation drivers that are unresponsive to interest rates. He anticipates the Fed will shift to a clearer easing bias into Q1 if economic activity continues to cool. Looking forward, Siegel advises caution regarding high valuations in the U.S. tech sector, warning investors that they, quote, should not bank on further multiple expansion doing the work, end quote. Instead, he suggests selective quality value tilts and highlights international opportunities in Japan and Europe where valuations are significantly cheaper than the U.S. You know who else was looking at Japan and Europe over the past several weeks and then telling us about it and then giving us some ideas from that? Yeah, that was Tim Melvin. Ultimately, Siegel views the consumer as a fulcrum for near-term performance. While he acknowledges a textbook 5 to 10% correction is in play if consumer resilience fades, he affirms he would be a buyer into that magnitude of weakness. November's Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey data, October's housing starts and building permits data, and August's U.S. trade deficit data will be released by 8:30 a.m. The minutes for the Fed's October FOMC meeting will be out by 2 p.m. All right, now let's go back to NVIDIA here. I know this is kind of the big thing that's going to be on deck here today. Here's what the chart looks like. We talked about this with Red Dog yesterday. The positive that I see, I'll just start with that. The positive that I see going in here, this stock did not run into the print. That has been a death blow. Stocks that have really kind of run into the print, even if they report good earnings, sometimes end up selling off. Well, that's not what we're getting here. Now, when we take a look at NVIDIA, currently sitting at about 184, actually, we just recaptured 184. That is above the 100-day, which is great. We're still below our downtrend line, which originated at the high from November 3rd, and we are still beneath the 50, and in this case, obviously, the 20 as well. So we are pretty much right in like this congestion area. And so the first thing that I'm going to be looking for tonight with the NVIDIA print, do we get a big move in either direction? Sometimes the options here will imply 7, 6, 7, 8, maybe even a 9 or 10% move. And then we only get 2, 3, or 4%. And it's the option sellers that end up winning that print. To me, I want to see if we break out here, if we trade up, do we have enough strength to trade up through a lot of this congestion area that we have? The top value there, 193.25, that's going to be your 20-day. That's what, 9 points away from where we're at on a $184 stock. I want to see if we can actually have the strength to move through all of those. And then conversely, if they put out a bad number or the market really pounds them, do we break down through the 100? And where's our next support level? It does look like 165-ish. Makes some sense. But we do have the 200-day down there at 152. I know there's a lot of people. We were talking about this yesterday. There's a lot of people that would like some of these really good companies on discount so we can add them for the long term. So I want to see if NVIDIA has a big move or a small move. And then depending on if it's positive or negative, we can figure out what the next spot on the trade is. Let's take a look at some more insights here. A large backlog for NVIDIA could be the key to long-term success, according to an analyst ahead of the highly anticipated third quarter financial results. The NVIDIA analyst, Stifel analyst Ruben Roy, maintained a buy rating on NVIDIA and raised the price target from $212 to $250. A recent keynote by NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang highlighted the company's $500 billion cumulative order book for Blackwell and Rubin. Quote, with consensus and our expectations incorporating Mr. Huang's commentary, expectations remain elevated, Roy said in the investor's note. The analyst said that the commentary has led to higher estimates for early 2028. Quote, we expect the near-term investor debate to remain centered on sustainability of infrastructure investment despite another round of hyperscaler CapEx increases and commentary on continued investment. Roy said the industry data points could indicate AI compute demand is high ahead of the report. We continue to view NVIDIA as best positioned to benefit. Now, we take a little bit of a different view here. I think that we're more of the TSM really kind of supplies NVIDIA and all of that, and they might be a little bit more important. But nonetheless, NVIDIA gets a lot of the headlines. The CEO loves to positively, I don't want to say pump, but positively talk about the stock. He's the one meeting leaders and such. So perhaps they are best positioned to benefit. I still think there's going to be an underlying picks and shovels trade with TSM that might be pretty attractive too. The analyst expects NVIDIA to beat estimates in the third quarter and provide optimistic guidance for the fourth quarter. Roy said supply side factors could be a risk for the stock in the third quarter. The analyst said Huang's commentary shows the backlog and what might be priced into the third quarter estimates and beyond. Roy said that the backlog of $350 billion could now be the baseline expectation, making it harder to achieve upside. The analyst said near-term upside for NVIDIA may already be priced into the stock. Quote, we believe that NVIDIA is well-positioned in markets that combine to yield an overall TAM of more than $100 billion exiting 2025 and a longer-term opportunity funnel that could approach $1 trillion. So this is kind of setting up, this analyst view here, kind of setting up for a potential sell the news event. Again, we'll see what we get here for NVIDIA. I'm curious to get everyone's expectations, if that's the right word, thoughts on what's going to happen here. Perhaps predictions might fit that bill. Let me know what you folks think on NVIDIA. And of course, if you're going to trade it for the print, I definitely want to know that as well. Next here is about Alphabet and Gemini. On Tuesday, Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai unveiled Google Gemini 3, calling it the company's most capable and nuanced AI system so far, as the search giant accelerates its competition with OpenAI's GPT-5. Google introduced Gemini 3 as a major leap forward in its multimodal and antigenic capabilities, positioning the model as smarter and more context-aware successor to Gemini 2.5. Gemini 3 is our most intelligent model that helps you bring any idea to life, the company said in a blog post. No surprise to see the next generation is a little bit better there. In a post on X, Pichai said the upgraded system is designed to help users, quote, get what you need with less prompting, end quote, by understanding intent more accurately and handling complex tasks with greater depth. Now, I haven't tried Gemini 3. Maybe I will at some point. It's been very difficult for me to trust Gemini ever since the extreme debacle when it first came out. And I just like some of the other models more. I will say, though, the get more with less prompting, to me, I'd like to see how this works. To me, the best results that I've got from any AI chatbot is when I've really put time into prompting and defining the tone and the context and giving it all of the relevant details. I'm not sure I trust the chatbot to infer a lot of that. I think I would prefer to just spend more time on the prompt and thus benefit more from whatever results are being thrown out there. And that's from things as, unserious as, hey, what is this noise on a car often related to more complex things about predicting perhaps future earnings for companies or something like that. All different things that I've tried out with some of these GPT tools or these AI tools. So to me, it probably is easier for folks to use if you require less prompting to get quality information back. Remember the old garbage in, garbage out. If the tool can help you put better inputs, you should expect better outputs. In my experience so far, the best way to get better outputs is to just focus more on the prompt. I guess we'll see how this changes things. The model begins rolling out on Tuesday to select paid subscribers through the Gemini app. I suppose if anyone has the paid Gemini app, let me know what your thoughts are on it. AI mode in search and enterprise tools with broader availability expected in the coming weeks. Google said Gemini 3 will power new generative interfaces capable of producing magazine-style explanations, interactive calculators, and dynamic layouts featuring images, tables, and grids. I'll tell you what, right on the surface, that sounds great. In a demonstration, Google showed the model explaining Van Gogh's work with contextual visuals and narrative summaries. This is interesting. I've actually never tried to have an AI tool explain to me some of the intricacies and finer details in some famous paintings, some of which I enjoy and own copies of myself. Might actually try that as kind of a weekend activity. That's, I don't know how much productivity that gives, but it's interesting. In the blog post, Demis Hassabis, CEO of Google's DeepMind, said Gemini 3 is designed to replace cliche and flattery with more honest and insightful responses. I think that's something we can all benefit from. The launch comes as OpenAI continues updating GPT-5. This month, the AI startup has released 2 improved versions described as warmer, more capable, and better at following instructions. Both companies are pushing aggressively to stay ahead as demand for AI accelerates. Alphabet and other tech giants, including Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon, expect to collectively reach about $600 billion this year on capital spending. Google also unveiled Anti-Gravity, a new agent platform that lets developers build at a higher task-oriented level. I got excited when I saw that the product was called Anti-Gravity because I'm a science space nerd, but I have no experience with the actual platform itself. Businesses can integrate Gemini 3 through Vertex AI, where the models can generate onboarding materials, analyze videos and factory images, or support procurement workflows. The Gemini app now has 650 million monthly active users, and Google's AI overviews reach 2 billion users monthly. I see this every day. I see the Gemini overview. I still use Google. I guess I'm a boomer and I'm old fashioned, but I still type search terms into Google and I often get the Gemini AI assistant answer right at the top. And I'll be honest, just on the surface there, it's generally pretty good. It does save me some time. And unless it's something complex or something that's more subjective, I generally don't have to click through. I can just get the answer very quickly from that AI summary. Google, as far as the stock goes, well, I'm not a huge fan of the AI tool. The stock is awesome. This has been a great one. You can see here with the Benzinga Edge ranking scores for this thing, just scores super high on momentum, scores really well on growth, and very high on quality. So Google has been a great trade for us. I think the last several trades that I've made on Google, they've all kind of been short term, but they've all been winners. Google has been a good one here recently. All right, next stock here, we're going to talk a little bit about NBIS. I know that's been a show favorite as well. Here's what the daily chart looks like. Giddy up. We held the 100-day. So the NBIS rollover here, this did 2 things. Number one, we rolled over, did not quite fill this gap. I know this is something other folks are worried about. But so far, the 100-day moving average looks to have caught it. The other interesting thing is that we did look like we tried to fill this gap on the candle yesterday. A little bit of a wick gap in there. Looks like that got filled. We'll see which direction we move here on NBIS. But it's important as far as upside targets here. We do get asked about this quite a bit. Stock is 91.70 here in the pre-market today. I got the next round target here, or the next target, excuse me, at that round $100 level. NBIS has played with that round $100 level several times on both the upside and the downside, and I expect that again. Right above that, we have the 20-day moving average at 108.32. That will probably be closer to 108 by the time NBIS trades back up towards that level. And then when we're just above that, we've got the 50-day at 110.28. And above that, we have a trend line here. I would say by the time we get to the trend line, can probably estimate this in a mid 120 handle, maybe 125 to the 128 that we see here on the chart. So NBIS, at least so far, I know there's been kind of a down move here with some of the other AI names and this one in particular, but the 100-day seems to have caught it so far. You know, one other thing we might want to do, we might want to extend this bottom trend line in case we do give that up. This will give us a downside target that's just shy of the 200. Nebius Group shares are trading higher on Tuesday afternoon. This was from yesterday, rebounding after last week's sharp sell-off that followed a mixed third quarter report and dilution worries. The AI infrastructure provider previously dropped nearly 9% after posting third quarter revenue of $146.1 million, which missed Wall Street's estimates near $153.7 million, and issuing full year revenue outlook of $500 million to $550 million, below the roughly $578 million that analysts had projected. Sentiment was further measured by an equity distribution agreement allowing the sale of up to 25 million Class A shares. Tuesday's bounce comes as investors reassess the long-term growth story. Despite the guidance reset, Nebius delivered roughly 237% year-over-year revenue growth and continues to ramp capacity aggressively. The company recently announced a $3 billion 5-year infrastructure deal with Meta Platforms and plans to expand compute capacity by 2.5 gigawatts in 2026, positioning Nebius as a key supplier in the AI data center buildout. Analysts at Northland Capital Markets have a $211 price target on this, while D.A. Davidson reiterates a $150 target and calls Nebius a top AI pick, arguing that the recent weakness could represent a buying opportunity. The Tuesday advance comes even as broader tech benchmarks trade mostly lower. Now, NBIS, the good score that it has for the Benzinga Edge rankings is in fact momentum, not really high on anything else. One other thing that I just wanted to check here with NBIS are going to be some of these other analyst ratings. We just talked about some of those. Looks like we've got price targets here. The most recent one from today is Citizens initiating coverage and slapping a 175 price target on that. That's what, 80 points higher than where we're at? Giddy up. We also, BWS Financial has a 130 price target. Northland, that we just discussed, has the 211. D.A. Davidson at 150. Goldman Sachs here at 120. That came back from September. So a lot of the price targets on NBIS still considerably higher than where the stock is right now. And now on the chart, it looks like we're kind of being caught by a support level. So I understand here if this is one of the stocks that folks are looking for a potential trade. It does make some sense to me. And we actually have some pretty clear mile markers here to determine whether or not this trade's working, long or short. So NBIS looking pretty good here. Really good to see this get caught by the 100-day. We'll see what the next move is for NBIS. We might actually end up looking at that here today. Pretty sure it was Marcus that was trading this recently with us. We talked the day that we were actually trading this and talking about it. We had this $89 level that looked like it was really strong resistance. This actually, this goes back from Friday, November 14th to Monday, November 17th. We ended up taking that out yesterday. And I know this looks like a back test to me. I know we kind of peaked beneath it, but we did take another leg higher here. So we'll see where NBIS goes. This was a really good call. Marcus, if you're out there, registering for you. You were all over that for several sessions. And that ended up being pretty good. So really good stuff there. Next one that I want to talk about here, next stock that I want to talk about here is actually going to be DoorDash. Let's take a look at the chart. Here is DoorDash, and this is why this is important. So DoorDash up 2.56%. Shares are trading higher after Jefferies upgraded the stock from hold to buy and raised its price target from $220 to $250. So this is why it's moving. The reason that I'm highlighting this right now is because we're in a gap. So we had a huge move down here, had a big gap down that gapped us through the 200-day. Looks like we put in a kind of a double bottom support here around 194.5. I suppose if you want to call that 195, I wouldn't argue with you too much on it. This level, if you go back to the beginning of 2025, this level really kind of represented a consolidation area or a sideways area that encompassed the Liberation Day move down. Now we're right back to this level, and we peaked into the gap. So we're actually above the candle from Thursday, November 6th. We do have the 200-day 11 points away from where we're at. So to my eye here, just simply eyeballing this and looking at it, it actually does look like Dash could at minimum test the 200 here. That would be an 11-point move to the upside. If we're able to get above that, the next target here at 230.5, that's going to be your 20-day. And then eventually you have a gap fill up here at about 237.63. So, and then even above that, the 100 and the 50. So plenty of upside targets here on Dash. We're in the gap. Did get a price target upgrade here. The price target of 250 on the chart is right here, basically right at that 100-day. Remember, these price targets are generally 12 to 18-month price targets. We've seen a lot of these stocks, especially the popular ones are the ones that trade on high momentum, move towards that level a lot quicker. We'll see if Dash is one of those that can do that. I got it already, producer. You thought you were going to slip that one in? No, I got them already. We're ready to go. Okay, let me actually get back to the news story here real quick. DoorDash shares rose 2.56% to 217.5 in pre-market trading on Wednesday following a new partnership with Family Dollar, discount retailer with roughly 7,000 U.S. stores. We talked about that in our Stocks in Focus here during the Stock Market Today segment. The partnership, which was announced on Tuesday, allows customers to use the DoorDash app to order groceries, household goods, health products, and convenience items for Family Dollar stores. President and Chief Commercial Officer of Family Dollar, Chris Hooks, said, "Partnering with DoorDash allows us to make shopping easier and more accessible for millions of families who rely on us every day." He neglected to mention that it's also going to make it more expensive. Mike Goldblatt, Vice President of Grocery and Retail Partnerships at DoorDash, said, quote, "Combining affordability with convenience makes all the difference, whether you're stocking up for family gatherings or picking out gifts for loved ones." Until the end of the year, new customers who ordered $30 or more from Family Dollar on DoorDash can receive 25% off up to $12 using the promo code FDONDD. Family Dollar products are available through DoorDash's Dash Pass membership, giving $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees on eligible orders. Customers can also use the Health Savings Account or the FSA debit cards to purchase eligible items from Family Dollar on DoorDash. Now, DoorDash has gained 26.43% here this year. You can see on our Edge rankings here, very, very high score on growth, good score on momentum, not much on quality or value there. The stock has been a pretty good trader. I know that a lot of folks on FinTwit end up trading this one. I know this was one of Red Dog's babies for a while. So DoorDash here. And again, we just took a look at the chart. This thing's in the gap. We've got some moving averages above it. Now we've got some good news. Do we think we have a multi-day bounce session here? Okay, let me go back to Pro. Now, folks, I know that you guys all love Tim Melvin, and I do too. We all do. But we've got a special guest for you here today. And I told Tim Melvin yesterday, he said, "Don't worry, just be sure to tell everybody I'll be coming back. It's no problem at all." But I am pleased right now to bring you Likefolio co-founder Landon Swan. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Landon, good morning. How you doing, boss?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing really good. It's a huge day here. We get some FOMC minutes, and then we have NVIDIA's earnings, and I'm hoping you want to talk about that here today a little bit. First of all, for anyone that's not familiar, can you explain who you are and what Likefolio is?
Sure. Yeah, Landon Swan. I'm co-founder of Likefolio, and Likefolio is it's interesting. So we use alternative data, social media, web visits, app downloads, things like that, to predict and project on company earnings, and so we can good insight into how well companies are doing, right? So if you talk on social media that you're going to Olive Garden, for example, then we tie that back to Darden Restaurants, and if thousands of people do that or don't do that, then we know that they're doing well or doing poorly. We do that for about 500 publicly traded companies.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Look, without giving away the secret sauce, can you talk about how you do that?
Yeah, so we've got deals with data providers. We've got different ways of attaining all these different data sources, and we tie some data is more strongly correlated to different companies. So, for example, Cracker Barrel. I hate to stick on restaurants, but Cracker Barrel is not highly correlated to Twitter data, for example, right? And most people that go to Cracker Barrel aren't tweeting about it. But if you look at Cracker Barrel near me searches, that is highly correlated, or web visits, for example, very highly correlated to some companies. Chewy is one of those that we cover, very, very highly correlated to web visits. So more people that go to chewy.com are more likely ordering. Same thing for Netflix. If you're going to Netflix, yep, there you go.
That's me. Chewy.com, Chewy app, that's me. I fit the profile.
Exactly. So we've got 500 companies that we track. They're all very highly consumer facing. So it's things that people talk about on social media. It's people that search. It comes up on Google Trends. It comes up on what you're searching for, on what's near you. It's what apps you're downloading. And we've got each one of those data sources sort of correlated to the revenue of each one of those companies. And so we've got a good pulse on how well each company's doing each quarter. And so then we put out a score from negative 100 to positive 100 each quarter, saying how well or how poorly we think each company is going to do on this earnings report.
Okay, that's amazing. I know when I first started, I was mesmerized by earnings report and how stocks can move 10% in a matter of a few seconds. And oh my God, if I can figure out a system to capitalize on this, I can make a lot of money. And I would do some of the things that you're talking about in a more boots on the ground approach. I would ask people, hey, do you go to this restaurant? Is it busy in there? That was not reliable at all. It didn't give me any good information. It seems like you've been able to scale that up and actually derive insights from it, which I think is awesome. I do want to talk a little bit about an example here, if that's okay. I know you sent over one of these earnings weeks previews. I'm going to go ahead and share that and have you explain it. Will that work?
Yeah, that's great. It's a great way to do it.
All right, let's do that here. Let me go ahead and bring this back on. Oh, my producer's trying to help me here. So here you go. This is a look at the earnings week preview calendar. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I'm sure all the eyes went to that second row in video, right? So we'll get to video.
Mine did.
So let's walk through what this sheet is. So this is the Wednesday portion of the sheet. We send out this every Sunday. Every day has its own portion. This is Wednesday. So when we say Wednesday, it's companies reporting either after the bell on Wednesday or before on Thursday. So Wednesday is the last day to trade it, right?
Got it.
And so we organize them from top to bottom is the best score down to the worst score. And so we've only got two that are sort of in the trading range on Wednesday where we would place a trade. If we're within 20 of 0, we don't really place a trade. So those bottom three are all kind of neutral scores. But just going across, I'll just kind of go column by column. First column, very simple. It's the company, the recent price, and again, this is a PDF. So this price was, I think, frozen on Friday. So don't worry too much about that. The earnings score, again, negative 100, super bearish, positive 100, super bullish. Within 20 is neutral. The next two are very important. So those are kind of the demand growth and the happiness growth are the changes in the consumer demand and the change in consumer happiness. And those go into that score. So the score is really the only thing you need to look at, but it kind of explains where that's coming from. So more up arrows is more positive, more down arrows is more negative. The star is if there is a highly correlated column, like I talked about. So demand growth is very correlated for Shoe Carnival, for example. Year over year change, real simple. What's the demand change? What's the stock change? Obviously, we like to see those be different because that gives us sort of an edge, right? If demand's up 20%, the stock's up 20%, we kind of agree with Wall Street and we're not going to do anything there. Expected move is just expected move from the markets, right? That's not our expected move. That's just the options pricing expected move. The next column is actually really important, the past 4 moves. So that is what this stock has done during earnings week, Monday to Friday, on the last 4 earnings reports. So that gives you a really good idea of how much this thing can move. And it's not just the day of the report, it's Monday to Friday, because a lot of these companies tend to ramp up into earnings and then sell off a little bit on earnings, or maybe they jump on earnings, but then they sell off going into Friday, or some of them just continue the run. And that's really important to know. And I'll talk about that with NVIDIA. You can see some pretty small numbers on it, 3, 0, 4, and 1%, where it's got an expected move of 8%. The next two are how we trade these. So the investor strategy is assuming you own shares of this. This is what we would recommend you do. Either buy, add shares, sell near puts, that kind of thing, or position if it's negative. And then the trader strategy is the option spread that we recommend taking if you're looking to invest or trade, just a few $100s. Like you don't have to buy, if NVIDIA, you don't have to buy $18,000 worth of shares to get 100 shares. You can do a trade that, you risk $150 to make $150, right? So that's the kind of thing we're doing there. And the commentary is just some notes from our research team about the company, about why we like this one or why we don't like this one. But again, we send this out every Sunday before earnings with every company that we cover who's reporting in the upcoming week, so people can get a good idea, a snapshot of how the companies are going to do, which companies they may own, how they might want to trade the ones that they don't own. So it's pretty popular service here at Likefolio.
Okay, so first of all, I do have a couple of follow-up questions before we move on to the NVIDIA line, which I'm sure everyone is waiting for here.
Sure.
Number one, just kind of looking at this, I actually didn't even really need you to explain it to me. I just kind of intuitively got it, which I really, really like. Whenever I look at graphics like that, especially if they're tied to stock picks, if I can understand it, that's a really good starting off point. If there's a lot of nebulous things and dots that I have to connect, sometimes I don't trust it as much. That's not what happens here. This is as clear as day. So it looks like here with Shoe Carnival, which is a stock that I've never traded here before, you would buy this, right? It says you would add shares here. I also like that, by the way. You're telling exactly what you think the trader should do here. I often look at the expected move based on the options here. So this is basically telling me, yes, you should buy this ahead of earnings. Is that right?
Basically, yeah, we think that there's
Awesome.
a divergence between consumers and what Wall Street expects. So consumers like this more than investors think they like it, right? That's basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that year over year change, I think this is really cool. Demand, this is exactly what you were talking about. Demand plus 23%, but the stock down over 50%.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit different here in NVIDIA. So let's talk about NVIDIA then. And
Sure.
I got two other graphics if you want me to share them.
Yeah, sure. So NVIDIA, I think all eyes on NVIDIA, right? I mean,
Right.
the way that they trade today and aftermarket is the way that the market trades for probably weeks. I mean, this is really important. I think everyone's eagerly anticipating. The bulls are hopeful, the bears are hopeful. Everybody's, hoping that it goes their way. And I wish we had a bigger score. 29 is still bullish. But it's, I wish we had like something in the 60s to really go hammer this one, but it's still a positive trade. And one of the reasons you can put either one of those charts up. But yeah, the reasoning behind NVIDIA, one of the big reasons is CapEx expenditure. I mean, this is everybody's spending, and they're spending primarily on AI, tech, and NVIDIA, right? They're using their money to buy more capacity for AI. It's an arms race. And NVIDIA is the ones selling the guns, right? I mean, they're in an incredible position. Now, there's definitely a lot of question marks or criticisms about potential circular investments, right? So I do want to talk about that real quick. I think it's different than the .com era where a software company would buy marketing from a search provider and the search provider would buy the software, right? Because they're both 100% marginal revenue on that. So it doesn't matter who buys it, right? They can just buy each other's stuff and no big deal. They increase on revenue, but their earnings don't go up. So that's what the .com bubble was created on. This is a little bit different in that they're selling a physical thing and they're actually building something that creates value, not just swapping revenue. And I kind of like that NVIDIA is doing this, frankly. I mean, if you think about, I'll give you a really sketchy analogy here. This is the best I could do. I'm making it up. But I just thought of this right before the show. Imagine that you had a company that creates this magic marketing box, and within a 1 mile radius, this box could anticipate the needs of a consumer for a sector. For example, if you had the hardware sector box and somebody was on a job site and they realized that they're about to realize that their drywall shipment is not coming today. They've got 40 guys ready to install and they're going to be 2 days delayed. It could send a text to the foreman and say, "Hey, I've got drywall 5 minutes away. Would you like to buy at 10% above market price?" That guy would text back, "Yes." It's a magic box, right? Imagine you had this thing. And you could do that for every sector. That would be, obviously everybody would want to buy that. Every business would want to buy that. And as the owner of that magic box company, I would want as many people to buy it, but I'd also be missing out on the upside because I can't create a construction company. I can't create a company that sells clothing or sells all these different things that maybe people anticipate needing right away. So it'd be better if I invested, if I have a ton of cash as this box maker, I could sell this box to people. I could invest in their company. They buy it back from me. And now I get upside in their company because I believe that this is going to transform their company. I think that's kind of what NVIDIA is doing. They know that their magic box, their AI chips are going to transform companies. They've got a ton of cash and they want to have upside in these companies and they want to make sure that there's a lot of revenue coming in. So I think it's a win-win. I totally get the criticism that a lot of people are making, like, hey, you're just paying out money for an investment and you're getting the money back.
Yeah.
But I think that the difference is that they're actually making something, they're actually building, and they're creating value for their customers. So I like that they're doing it. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think that that's going to be the problem that a lot of people think. And I think a lot of the bear case is built on that.
Okay. That's definitely, we've actually been highlighting a lot of those comments, and you're absolutely right. That is probably the biggest bear case that I hear on a regular basis for a lot of these companies, and not just NVIDIA. Do have a really quick question here directly from the chat. How's the win rate on some of these picks?
Oh, I love this question. So I'm going to answer this, and I'm going to get head scratchers on this. So we're hitting about 58%, which is like Shaq shooting a free throw, right? It's not something you'd brag about, but when the way that we trade, we make slightly more on each win than we lose on each loss. And so if we're hitting around 58% and we make 53 and we lose 47, you can pull out an Excel sheet and, simulate 1,000 of those, and you're going to see a line that goes up and to the right. So we kind of equate that to dealing blackjack, right? I mean, if you go to Las Vegas, you see how big these buildings are, how much money these companies make. They're making about 52% winners, right? They're hitting at dealing blackjack. They're winning about 52% of the time. And so if we can hit 58% and win slightly more as a dollar amount than we lose as a dollar amount per trade, we're going to do really well. So that's what it's built on. We don't have I wish it was 90%, but there's just so many X factors. There's so many variables that go into it. We're actually pretty happy with 58. So we win long term, but it's not just like this, magical thing where you can win every time.
Yeah, that tells me that it's actually legitimate. Same person here said this is a very good win rate. 8% above a coin toss is good. And just kind of using your Shaq example, well, sure, that might resemble Shaq's free throw percentage, but each of those free throws were worth 1 point. It seems to me that some of the winners here are actually worth more than 1 point, and that really kind of skews the numbers when you extrapolate that over a long period of time. So that good question. Thanks for the answer on that. One more graphic here you had. This is for NVIDIA here. This is the year-over-year change in visits. Was there anything you wanted to cover on this?
Yeah, so this is just comparing to their competition, right? And this is people going to the websites that are learning about and purchasing orders, or so learning about the chips and placing orders. So this is very specific web traffic. Obviously, you want these to be higher. And what's interesting is we always do these charts on a year-over-year basis. And a lot of times, like last year was low, therefore it's easy to beat, right? And so it's tough to keep up. But NVIDIA's last year was not low. They're screaming to the top, and yet they're still the fastest grower among all three of these. So the fact that they're at plus 19%, beating what was a really strong number last year, tells us that they're not slowing down. They're expanding their lead, and it's basically it's just very bullish. Now the stock is, if you take out, if you want to bring up a stock chart, if you take out
Sure.
the little run up in late October, we're basically at the August highs, right? I mean, it made an all-time high in August, and then it made a kind of flattened out, made a little run up, and now we're back down to where we were in August, right? And so it's just shown that it can go higher, but it's pulled back, which I love. I love to buy on dips. And anytime we're bullish, it's just better if we've got a little bit of a dip. And I think this sets up really well for NVIDIA, because all the data that we've got is fairly bullish. The stock is pretty high, but not as high as it has been. So overall bullish going in NVIDIA, and hopefully they follow through on this when we hit that 58%.
Okay.
But you do have a smart audience, I can tell, because that read on that 58% is very smart. We don't always get that read from customers.
Yeah, we try to preach education and constantly learning around here. That has its benefits down the road, without a doubt. Look, this is great for individual stocks, but I might throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing here for you. Can this do anything with Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin, yeah. So we can actually measure. So we cover 500 companies on a consumer basis.
Mm-hmm.
We also cover about 20,000 companies on an investor basis, which is more along the lines of Bitcoin. People talking about buying shares or coins, how they feel about the company, or how they feel about the investment, the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is interesting. So I would say that right now, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt with Bitcoin largely comes from quantum computing. That's my guess, because if that comes through, then that breaks everything, right? So I think we're still years, if not decades, away from that with time to defend. And I think, frankly, I don't know if arrogance is the right word, but it's a little interesting that bears on cryptocurrency worry about quantum breaking Bitcoin when how much easier is it to crack someone's online banking password? You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane. So that's going to go first. But just talking about it, I can tell you that the sentiment around Bitcoin is low. Right there, it is pretty bearish out there. And here's the good news for those longs: this is a inversely correlated statistic. The more bearish investors get, the closer to the bottom we are. And the more bullish people are, that's closer to the top, because the last person that sells, that's the bottom. The last person that buys, that's the top. So we've gotten to a pretty bearish level on investor sentiment, and we're starting to see tweets and posts on Facebook and things where people are talking about, I've been holding for 5, 6, 7 years. I'm finally out. I can't take it anymore. I'll buy it back at a lower price. And, I mean, if enough people think like that, there is no lower price.
That's right. That's right. We talk about that a lot on Fridays. Investor psychology. It's a tricky thing to unpack, but you're absolutely right on that. Okay. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that your system sees here that you want to share at all?
With Bitcoin specifically, or just
anything, or anything, any other trend that might be out there?
Yeah. So I tell you what, so Likefolio, we've got the earnings system, which I think a lot of people, especially on your show, are going to really be interested in. That'd be number one. The other thing that we do is more for long-term investors. We have a product called Mega Trends, which looks at trends that are forming in the general economy that are lifting up certain sectors, and which companies are going to benefit from that. One that we see right now, well, this is kind of a sneak peek because we haven't put this out yet. We've got hedge funds clients. I hope they're not watching, because they're going to get this in like 2 days, and I'm going to be talking about it on your show right now. But solar, I think, is the next big trend. We've seen energy, and this goes right along with NVIDIA. The power demands of AI is incredible, and it's growing very, very quickly. So we've had a lot of winners in just the power sector, but now we're starting to see solar specifically be a big win in the near future. And we've got 5 companies highlighted in our next report that's coming out in just a few days, that talk about which solar companies or which companies taking advantage of solar are most likely to win. So that's another one. If people have questions about that, they're free to email me, Landon, Landon @likefolio.com. I can tell more about that. Happy to talk about the Megatrends product or what we see in that sector. But yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
Okay, that is absolutely awesome, folks. If you're interested in this, you can scan the QR code at the top to get access to that earnings sheet. Landon, I went ahead and threw your email here in the chat, so hopefully you'll get some emails from some of our viewers here. This is really exciting stuff. And also a couple more comments here. Hey, Landon, I've seen you over at the Schwab Network. You've shared some great info. So you were talking about how smart our viewers are here. Indeed, they are. I actually think I've seen your brother, Andy, at the Schwab Network. Am I getting that right?
Yep, you have. We switch off. Yep.
Okay, awesome. And then you kind of touched on this a little bit, but just to kind of wrap this up here, who are your customers and clients?
So we have quant funds and hedge funds are our primary revenue clients, but we also sell a lot to individual investors. And that's actually where we got started, right? We got started selling investor education and active trading advice to individual investors. Then we kind of, I don't want to exaggerate, but we kind of cracked the code on social data, and we got a university did a study on us, and the hedge funds started knocking. And as you may know, they pay a lot, so those become our primary customers. But they became our primary customers. But we're going back to our roots and making sure that everyone has the advantages that they have. So retail and individual investors are a key part of what we do.
Okay, awesome. Likefolio co-founder Landon Swan, really awesome stuff here. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Hope to have you back, and really curious to see how this actually performs. I'll be watching, what was the ticker? SCLX, a Shoe Carnival, SCVL. I'll be watching that and NVIDIA just a little bit closer to see how we actually did with this. Landon, thanks very much for your time. Have a great rest of your day, all right?
Thanks, Ryan. Take care.
All right, that is Landon Swan from Likefolio. Really cool product, actually. I think this is, like I said, I'm keeping this open here. I'm going to watch this. Really, really good stuff. Gave us some insight there too that he didn't give the clients yet. We'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Cannot thank Landon enough for joining us. Thank you, folks. And thanks for the interaction there. Thanks for the questions. Really, really good stuff. That's exactly what we want to see out of some of these interviews. Folks, before we change the banner at the top, be sure to scan that QR code if you do want that earnings sheet. Really awesome stuff. Okay. And yeah, like I said, I promise, don't worry, we'll get Tim Melvin back. That won't be an issue. Now, I'm going to leave producer, you can leave the banner up here a little bit just in case anyone wants to keep scanning that QR code. But in the meantime, Landon's departure leaves room for 13. We'll go ahead and bring him on. 13, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy NVIDIA Day. How are you doing here this morning?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. Man, that guest was pretty awesome.
Was that not pretty awesome?
I really like this comment about how one of the next big energy plays is going to be solar. We just talked about that yesterday in happy hour. Fantastic timing on that end. Love it. Love to hear it. Looking forward to seeing him again. So having a good morning.
Yeah, indeed. And totally agree on that. The timing was really, really awesome. We'll see how this all shakes out here. Okay. In the meantime, though, we got some movers to go through, right?
Yes, we do.
Let's get cracking on that. So I'm going to flip over to the movers chart here. First one, this is actually no action required on this first one here.
Congratulations if you had it.
Congratulations if you had it. Big pop here. Nice 74% move, and it's holding higher here. This is ticker SEMR. This is SEMrush Holdings. SEMrush shares are trading higher after the Wall Street Journal reported that Adobe is nearing a $1.9 billion deal to acquire the company. Now, the headline there says it's nearing, but it doesn't look like it's nope, here it is. So this is, in fact, confirmed $12 per share in cash. We're only 18 cents off that. So no trade here, but this is being scooped up here really quick because we've been looking at some of these mergers and acquisitions recently. I know we've seen a lot kind of in the biotech and pharmaceutical space. This one a little bit different. SEMrush Holdings is engaged in the online visibility management software as a service platform. This platform utilizes data and intelligence at the core surrounded by AI-powered interconnected hubs focused on search engine optimization, SEO, paid advertising, social media engagement, local marketing, and brand marketing. So it seems like Adobe adding this to their portfolio, I would imagine this would have tailwinds through some of their AI tools, but that's just speculation. Nonetheless, this trade is over. Grats if you had it. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Should I just move on?
You can just move on.
All right, next one here. I almost called this Ewok when I woke up this morning and saw it because I was still a little bit sleepy and hadn't had my second cup of coffee. But this is actually EPWK Holdings. Their shares are trading higher. The company announced achievements in 3 strategic segments. Really quick, a peek here at the short interest on this name, 8.92% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.44 million shares. Today, we've blown that out of the water and traded 25 million plus. Float on this one, I'll go check the float again, but this is a very, very small float. I've got 544,000. Say again?
Don't bother. They did a 1-for-40 reverse split on Monday, joining Netflix in the whole reverse split. Joining Netflix in the splitting process. Only they're doing it the opposite direction. So that's why you have a float of 544,000 shares.
Okay. Well, since I'm not going to bother, I'm just going to turn it over to you. What do you got here on EPWK?
I mean, we pretty much covered this already. You just talked about it. That's what the big thing they did this week. Company needs money. This is the Chinese company that is trying to expand, very similar to the I believe it's RAYA that we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
So some companies from China are still trying to expand globally. This company did receive a NASDAQ compliance notice. So that's the reason that they're going through this process of reverse splitting. They're going to have to raise capital as well because they need it. So I would expect there to be some kind of capital raise coming at some point soon, probably as early as today, but no guarantee. Just understand the risk if you're going to trade this. It's only been able to get up to 233 this morning. We're actually making our way back up in that direction right now, but there is a seller in the way at 215. We get clear of that. Maybe we see 233 again, but just understand the risks you're taking with a company like this that is poised to raise capital.
Okay. And by the way, I can't remember exactly what you said yesterday, but regarding your warning here about a company raising capital, how about our big mover from yesterday raising capital?
Okay, so
Again, I can't remember exactly what it is that you said, and I did not have the time to go back and check the tape. So I forgive me if I'm getting something a little bit wrong here, but I could have sworn that you said this one might have to raise cash, and guess what they did?
I mean, every time that I mention that some company is going to need to raise cash throughout any given week, it's usually there's always at least one that ends up doing it. So that might have been the one. I don't know, but a lot of these companies that we trade and that we look at that have really low floats are getting NASDAQ compliance notices and this and that. They typically don't have a lot of cash and they need to raise more capital. So even though they provide great movement, you can make some really quick, great money off of them. Understand that these are not to be hung out around in, because they can do these really, really awful things to shareholders, such as share dilution and consolidation. So just keep that in mind. These are trading vehicles, not investment vehicles.
Yeah. Okay. Really good stuff there. Moving right along here with the list. The next one I've got is KZIA. This is Kazia Therapeutics. And this is, I don't want to say a show favorite because I don't know if that's true, but we often find this on the scanner and the gap list here, and it is back here again today. Kazia Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company reported an initial immune complete response in a stage 4 triple negative breast cancer patient treated under FDA authorization expanded access protocol, combining several drugs that I'm not even going to try. You're welcome to if you want. They are for chemotherapy. So this stock had kind of a weak day yesterday, closed right under $6, and then this news was released in the after hours, and bang, we went right to 10. This morning we tried 10 again. This gives us a double top, just a little bit higher than that, maybe 10 and a quarter. We've actually backed off that, lost the VWAP, tried to recapture the VWAP on some decent volume, couldn't hold it, and now we're being supported by the 200 EMA. So when we see this formation in the pre-market, it's the same all the time. We really want to see this kind of hold up, not give any more ground to the downside, and then hopefully recapture that VWAP on pretty short order. Otherwise, if it just trades back up to the VWAP here, we're looking at what, 80 cents? That's actually not bad for a potential move. We'll see if we end up getting that here. A quick peek at the short interest before 13 breaks the news down like a fraction. 1.17% of the float shorted here and 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 225,000. Very, very low by our standards. Today, however, it's traded 12.2 million. Float on this 1.65 million, so it can definitely be moved around as evidenced by what we saw here today. The other thing to note here, if you are going to trade this, we have earnings unconfirmed but predicted for the first week of December. So we're looking at, this thing says 13 days. I don't know if it's actually going to report on December 2nd, but if we take a look at the history here of its earnings, it reports, oh, did I click on the wrong thing? And this is guidance. Looks like I had the interesting. Let's see. What did it do last year? Last year, it looked like it was November 15th. And the year before that was in October. So, yeah, go ahead.
It's not a company that typically reports quarterly, is my understanding.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there's any type of cadence or if there's any type of pattern that we can assume, because that's how these estimates are generated. I can't get it off the top of my head here, but just keep in mind that it should probably report earnings pretty soon. These are full year earnings, not quarterly, as 13 just mentioned. So we'll see. When just know that earnings are coming up here. If you end up trading this, for me, I would just day trade it, so that wouldn't really be important. But if you plan on holding this overnight, just understand that there's another catalyst coming here. And look, in the time that we've taken to take a peek at that, is actually lost the 200 EMA. So 13, what do you got here? KZIA. Bless you.
Excuse me. So yeah, so this one pretty much kind of similar situation with the last one we just looked at. It does need cash. It is going through NASDAQ recompliance. They have a plan to request a hearing because they just received a notice on the 12th. They weren't up to the minimum market value requirement, which is 35 million. So they're going to have a hearing with them and outline a plan that they have for regaining compliance. The thing that was interesting about this that kind of gave you a little bit of a roadmap to the news that we had today is that back in late October, you had them requesting a Type C meeting with the FDA. That usually comes before what they ended up doing, which is they were trying to gain access to patients that they could test their cancer drug on, and that's the news that we were getting here today. Is that the initial immune response was the news? So a little bit of a roadmap there. Company does need to deal with their stock. I mean, like they just I don't recall if I saw them doing a reverse split or not, but they do need to raise capital as part of their NASDAQ compliance. So this is another one that could also raise as early as today. I don't know when they will, but I'm sure some filing will have it. But that is another one to just keep in mind that we don't want to stick around this. Trade it, get your money, get out. We'll find something else, have a good time. Right now, currently losing the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. And unless it recaptures that, this is going to continue lower. Next area of support might not be until maybe around 750. That's about the middle of the sideways price action we've had for this month. So I would say about there would be the next support area if it doesn't recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. But if that support area also falters, there's a very good chance we'll just come right back down to where we started.
Okay, and real quick, just to kind of clean that up, you were right. It was actually an ADR ratio change, which is effectively the same thing as a reverse split, and that took place April 17th earlier this year.
There you go.
So that was a 1-for-5 on that. Okay, good stuff, 13.
That was an Australian company, by the way.
Oh, it is. That's right. Okay. I think actually we've covered that before. But okay, good stuff. Now, next one here, SGBX, and I feel like we talk about this every other day, it seems.
We have so far this week.
PayPal getting wrecked here. Anyway, I feel like we talk about safe and green holdings every other day or thereabouts. You can actually see this stock has made a decent move off of $2 where it opened the week here. It's $4.14 right now. This is a massive move. We actually peaked above $4.50 in the after hours yesterday. All right, safe and green holdings here. Let's see if we had any news on this. This is also one of those low floaters. Okay, I don't have any news here. Last thing I have is a Form 10 from Friday of last week. So I've got no new news that's impacting this here. I don't have, I think it's, what do I not have here? A float reading? No, this is all mixed up.
A wild short float reading.
Yeah, wild short float reading. It's reading 294%. That's because this must have had like a recent split or share restructure.
Earlier this month or this year, I mean.
Yeah, earlier this year, September 8th, we had a 1-for-64 reverse. That's throwing some of this stuff off. Still pretty high short interest, though. The raw volume here, 1.42 million shares held short. It's telling me the float's only 500,000, and I don't think I believe that, but it is still pretty low float after that. We've seen this trade before, so we know how it trades. On average, it trades 4.43 million shares a day. Today, we've done 4.76. What do you think here? You think we continue this move off the bottom that we've had?
I think the only thing I'd be looking at is just some of the technical levels that we've had before. We've talked about it before. That's what I would just go with. One of the earlier ones we already are above right now, but need support from. That's $4. There is going to be a gap fill that looks like it starts at about 425, 430. That's from the October 13th to 14th. So there looks like that from about 425 to 430, it looks like there's a 75-cent gap fill up to $5 that you'd want to pay attention to from those two dates there. That's if we get up to that level. We're still beneath it. I think we did manage to get above up to it. Yeah, so we did hit that in the pre-market. Looks like we went as in the after hours, we went as high as 469, but I think we didn't fill the gap, so that's still on the table in my opinion. So let's see what happens as we get back up to 425, 430. Look at the pre-market price action. We can't get up above 425 and close. No close above it. So that's going to be the spot. I think if we can hold above VWAP, let's see that break over 425. That takes us up to $5.
Okay, and just for giggles here, I added a trend line. We'll see if we can end up breaking that. Okay, I'm going to continue down this list, but I actually want to cover a message that I missed earlier. I'm sorry that I missed this, but we had kind of a busy morning here. This hits right at home, so I want to really quickly cover this. This comes from our chat member, Sean. Chat's not working well. It's working well enough. Props on to Statty. That's one of the more amusing nicknames I seem to have taken on here. I was severely injured in 2004 in Afghanistan. 2019 Medtronic DBS restored my life. This program, I've never made money so fast to help more people. Respect to you in the show. First of all, respect to you and thank you for your service.
Thank you for service.
And I'm, of course, obviously sorry that you had a very serious injury. But this really just kind of hits at the core tenet of why we do this. The reason that the show is free is, we want to be able to promote Benzinga, what we do, and the products and how they can actually help raise the tide for everybody. But the reason that this program is free is because we really do want to help. And while I'm not somebody that was born, bred, and came from Wall Street, I try to do a lot of the same things that you folks try to do. I'm trying to better my financial future. I've stepped on some landmines throughout the journey, figuratively. Obviously, you've actually avoided landmines, which is insane. I've stepped on some figurative landmines throughout the journey. The one thing that I noticed, though, is that there's some stigma about the stock market. There's some stigma about just stocks in general and all of that. And I want to dispel it. This can absolutely make people's lives better. We can help people. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to be selfish. We can always try and help our brothers and sisters around us. And that is exactly what we try to do here. It's one of the reasons I bring 13 on. That's one of the reasons 13 wakes up in the morning and studies some of this stuff so he can tell you about it. This is what we do here. And so to hear you say this, to hear you say that you've never made this much money so fast, that's all you. Happy to talk about different stocks and give you ideas, but you're the one executing it. You're the one doing it. This is absolutely awesome. These are the best comments that I read on the show. This is the type of stuff that gets me up in the morning and gets me in the seat here. So you will often see me make mistakes. That's not going to stop, but it's all going to be for this goal of trying to help others around us. Once again, thank you for your service, Sean, and I'm glad to see that this type of thing is putting a smile on your face. That's absolutely awesome. I'm sorry for kind of putting that in the middle there. I missed that when that comment rolled across because we were busy, but that's absolutely something that we need to highlight. Absolutely something that we need to highlight. Okay. I'm going to keep moving here. Next, I've got SGML Sigma Lithium. So our lithium stock coming back into play. Here's when we traded this last time. Monday, we had, I almost want to say this is kind of a similar formation, maybe a little bit. Stock plummeted out of the open, actually gave a trade, then didn't really do anything. So now here we are again. Perhaps we're going to get something similar here. Let's see if we had any news on this one. No, last piece of news here was the lithium news that we got over the weekend that bled into Monday. Quick peek at the short interest, 16.67% of the float shorted here on 2.28 days to cover. Elevated, but not really high by our definition. On average, stock trades 4.5 million shares a day. Today, it's already traded 4. Float here a little bit thicker at just shy of 64. 13, you think we get another run here, SGML?
Well, I believe that when we looked at this last, this was moving off of the earnings that it had on Friday, and I think we got some continuation of that. And when we were looking at this, we also took a look at my favorite lithium stock, right? You remember
ALB.
That is? That's it. Well, guess what ALB had today? They had news. So I think because we got that correlation there earlier, we're also getting it again. Lithium. What's that silly happy hour adage? A rising ship lifts all the crappy boats. So I think that's kind of a little bit what we're seeing here. We might also be seeing some other upward price action from the other lithium names. We could take a look. Like there's Lithium Americas, that's up 3.4%. Give me another one. What's another?
Real quick here, your ALB news was a BMO price target raise, BMO capital price target raise 125 to 136. As far as some of the lithium names, you know what, 13, let me consult my list here and I'll give you several of them. Nice. I know we made a lithium one. I know we made, don't please tell me that
it could have been
it was a metals one. It was combined.
Oh, metals or rare earth
or rare earth minerals or something. I really should split that.
There you go. No AB though. ALB. Oh no, that's out of order. Sorry.
Yeah, here we can do it this way. ALB is absolutely on there. So here you go. So my lithium list must be combined in my rare earth. Yeah, because lithium LITM.
I mean, look at that list. Look at all the green on that list. I mean,
yeah.
That's what this is. There you go. And in addition to that, you also had news from MP.
Yeah, I saw that too. Here, let me actually add year-to-date change percent on here, and then also month-to-date change percent on here. That'll give us an idea of this entire sector.
Yep.
So this month has been a little bit of a pullback, but look at the eye-popping numbers on the year-to-date gains on these.
That's right, Jay. MP had news. This isn't exactly what we were talking about how some of the critical minerals could come back, because we were talking about the possibility of U.S.-China tensions rising again, how that could be a catalyst for it. But this is more on the side of, hey, we want to do more business with Saudi Arabia. We're going to start doing rare earth refining and production in the kingdom. So here we are with the mining. The critical mineral names coming back up as a result of that.
Okay. All right. Well, this is trading in theme then. Here, you know what? We'll just go right to MP because here you go. MP Materials shares are trading higher after Goldman Sachs initiated coverage with a buy rating, $77 price target. I know we've actually been talking about these recently. They obviously had the huge meteoric rise, but fell down from that. So here you go. This to my eye, if we can recapture the 65 here, maybe we can move towards that $77 price target on MP.
Yeah, that excuse me, that $65 level, maybe 66. That looks like it's kind of like 65.90, but let's call it 66. That looks like that's a pretty standout support and resistance area. Ever since we came back up here earlier this year in, it looks like July, that 66 area has been, it's been traded above and below, but it's also caused reversals, rejections, breakdowns. I think 66 is a big level that the price needs to get back over. Seems pretty important to me. And then, of course, you have the 50-day SMA right above that. So two levels to keep an eye on there for breakouts or for resistance. If we're going to 77, that puts us up into an area where we've only had some breakouts that pulled back in. One was there was only one that was successful in October. That went up for over that area for 5 days, came right back in. So I can see how 77 is a pretty big resistance area. But you know what? Let's see what happens once the price gets up there, because I have a sneaking suspicion that we might even see higher prints.
Okay. Good stuff. Real quickly here. I love this. Absolutely love this. Jamie Dimon is back. Hey, I haven't been here for a while. Well, we hope you're well. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. How's that Bitcoin investing going for you? Actually, thank you for asking. Really good. The Bitcoin investing, I actually did ring the register, and I was able to purchase my first ever BMW. So it's been going really, really good. Thank you again for asking. Don't worry, MicroStrategies. It's actually called Strategy now. You might have missed that change there. It will save you. I don't know if it's going to save me per se, but it does look like it's bouncing off of 200 here. Jamie Dimon, it sounds like you're getting ready to slap a buy rating on Strategy, ticker MSTR. Did I get that right? Or is it still a sell rating? You'll have to let me know. Nonetheless, good to have you back here. Let me know what other crypto you're really interested in. Jamie Dimon, everyone. Diamond hands. Absolutely love it. Okay. Sorry, had to. VSIG, this is also on the list. Was there anything here that you wanted to cover?
Not that I wanted to cover.
Okay. This is a little bit higher here in the after hours. I don't think there was anything of note on here. Nope. No news since Monday. The metals company is on here. Perhaps that's moving with the rare earth theme that we just talked about. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Redwire is on here. I feel like despite talking about space stocks here quite a bit, we haven't talked about Redwire recently. Redwire shares are trading higher after the company was awarded a $44 million DARPA contract for the Otter Very Low Earth Orbit mission. 13, did you, maybe you haven't looked into this yet, have you?
Not yet, nope.
Okay, well, I just gave you some homework unintentionally. This stock is popping here. We actually popped above 620. We actually just lost the VWAP here.
That's fine. Book reports due on Monday.
Okay. Was there anything else on the list that you wanted to cover?
I just want to cover what everybody's looking at.
Okay, then I'm just going to go right to Oklo here because some more congrats are in orders. Geez, Ryan. Let's see here. Barat, you are going to get a register ring. I covered all of my Oklo short great profits, but could not quite make $1 million on it. Darn, Bharat. Still sounds like you did pretty well on it. Congrats on that trade. Another registering here for good measure.
So I love the. Go ahead. Sorry, I love the Oklo news. Sorry.
Okay, well, no, let's do. I was just going to say Oklo's popping here on news. If you love it, here is the news. We'll have 13 tell us why. Oklo and Siemens Energy sign a binding contract for design and delivery of the power conversion systems for Oklo's Aurora powerhouse. 13, break this down. Why do you love this?
Two companies I talked about yesterday in Happy Hour. One was GE Verona, and the other was Siemens Energy. So I like this news because the whole thing that I'm on right now is there's a lot of power plant build outs that are going to be happening in this state and throughout the U.S. And there are natural gas. They are building a lot of natural gas power plants. They're also building a lot of solar farms. What they're not building are new coal plants. They're just repurposing and reopening them. And they're not getting started on any nuclear yet. That's still, it still could be a ways away. So, and the restart ones that they're talking about, like 3 Mile Island, that could still be a year or two away. But what's more imminent is going to be the gas turbines, and that's why I like Siemens. That's why I like GEV. So that's why I like the news, because it's all. I think the turbines are going to be a huge thing for energy going forward into 2026 and 2027, and for as long as we have this demand for electricity from data centers and EVs, EV tolls, crypto.
And I think doesn't that dovetail into your view on solar as well? I mean, more energy, more better, more projects, more stuff.
More batteries. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm not so sure about wind farms because the thing that I was looking into with that is that they really
kill all the birds. All the birds fly into the wind farms.
It's not about the birds. No, it's not about the birds, but it's more about the fact that it requires a lot of concrete for every single one of those. And when you break it down compared to like a natural gas power plant, then like the megawatt per like cubic foot of concrete, the wind farms don't cut it. They use way too much concrete. You're better off just building a bunch of natural gas power plants.
Okay. All right. Good stuff here. Good stuff on Oklo. Is this the bottom? I think that's the $64,000 question, right? Is this the bottom? I don't know if it is.
Yeah, I don't know either because
it's bouncing today, but we'll see if that's actually the bottom. It's trying to hold on to 100 here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be here. It could be around 85. It could be even the 200-day SMA. I don't know. I'm not. And it still has that bearish pattern that I'm concerned about, and I don't necessarily think that it's completely resolved yet. So I think there still could be some more downside, but I don't want to make any predictions about this. Maybe it does turn around here.
Okay. All right. Real quick, just want to clean up a couple more comments here. Well, you gave up on Bitcoin? No, definitely. Just rang the register on some because that's good investing, buying and selling during these ups and downs. Still have some. Also still have Ethereum and a couple of other, what do they call them? Poop coins. That's what I think Anne-Marie called them yesterday. But we're just poking fun here. I will say, when Bitcoin was above 120,000, I was asking where you were at, Jamie Dimon. No one could find you, but now we found you when we came back down to 90K. So I guess that just it says what it says there. Michelle saying, Ryan, how much coffee did I have this morning? Michelle, I only had my regular 2 cups. You're the personal trainer. I thought that too much coffee too early in the morning is actually not good for you. So I try to spread that out. I've had my normal amount here, but I just have some innate spiciness here, probably because we're coming up to my favorite holiday of the year in Thanksgiving. That would be my best guess if you're going to try to read through on that.
EKS coming with some more knowledge with the turbines, bringing up about how Caterpillar and also Mitsubishi Power are going to also be very, very important to this whole theme of building out energy infrastructure using the gas and steam turbines. So absolutely, Caterpillar and Mitsubishi, put it on your list, or even take a look at it if you're interested in buying something for this theme.
Okay. And didn't you like GEV?
That's GE Verona. That's the or Veranova. I mean, that's the one I started adding GEV and Siemens already. Like I started buying just very, very slowly because it's still in a downtrend, but I like to get into these things when they're showing weakness. So I'm starting to get into it now.
Love it.
Probably good. I'm going to continue to get into it as it comes in, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Just kind of looking here. The list looks like it's changed around a little bit. We covered a lot of these. VRA, Vera Bradley. This is also on the list. I don't know. This one I didn't look at, so I don't know if there is news here. Vera Bradley announces appointment of Melinda Paris as the chief. I don't know who this is, so this doesn't really hit for me. It is driving the stock here up 9%. I guess we would have to look into this. Melinda's extensive merchandise design and marketing expertise with iconic brands such as Coach and Kath Kidston makes her ideally suited to help drive our integrated approach. Okay, so they're adding someone here as a chief brand officer. Hopefully that's going to drive it higher here. Stock's up by about 13%. Vera Bradley, I don't think I'm even familiar with this. Yeah, go ahead.
Looking at a daily
Women's
chart.
handbags. Oh, no wonder.
Looking at a daily chart, if you draw a line straight across at 325, that's the price we came down to in December of last year and bounced before we ended up crashing through it in February of this year. So I think that, and we're up there right now trying to get through it. So that's an important resistance level that we're getting through right now. And it'll become support once we're through it. After that, the next areas of resistance that I see are going to be at $3.50 and $4. You also have a golden cross that's about to happen with this on the daily chart. So if this continues to hold above these levels, then there could be some more bullishness ahead for this company. Okay.
All right. Good stuff there on Vera Bradley. How are the handbags? Does anyone know how the handbags are? No idea myself there. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything else on this list that we wanted to cover? Did that have news? Canaan. This is one of the Bitcoin digital asset treasuries, right? No.
That's the
no, it's not. I'm sorry.
Manufacturer. They make Bitcoin mining machines.
Okay. They got a $4 price target here. Rosenblatt maintaining a $4 price target. LAC was on the list here. Did that have any news? Doesn't look like it.
Lithium Americas. That's the one
that's with the lithium. Okay. So I think we covered pretty much everything here. Here's CYPH. This was a trade for us this week. Looks like this is trying to take out yesterday's intraday high. Where's Crow?
Hold on a second. That looks interesting. Let me look at that chart closer. That might be an ascending triangle. That might be a nice setup that we have there with CYPH. Let me just double check here.
I think you're saying like this, right? Like here, I'll even draw it on here. We're looking like boop, like that. And you're looking at a horizontal line right here.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Let's see how many days. Well, you've got over several days. I'm just looking between yesterday and today. So, and it's still, I mean, so if you look at just yesterday and today, like we have it coming off of the 230 area, rising up and kind of consolidating a little bit, but the lows keep getting higher while the highs kind of stay at about 308, 309. So that there, it's still an ascending triangle in that sense. So I would think that we do get a breakout, and that breakout spot is going to probably be around 310, 309, 310.
Okay.
So just watch for volume. Watch for volume, and then see if we get that.
All right. Indeed. Really quick, thinking about it, saying Ryan Thigh Hard is a great Thanksgiving movie. That's hilarious. You know, they should do like a parody movie, right? Called Thigh Hard. And what should it be? Well, I guess that could go the wrong way there. I didn't think about that before I read this comment. So I don't know where you're actually going with that, thinking about it, but we're going to try and keep it clean here. Maybe this can be about, maybe it wouldn't be terrorists on Thanksgiving, but something that takes place on Thanksgiving. Make it a parody of Die Hard. I'd be all for it. And you know it, thinking about it, that absolutely would be a Thanksgiving movie if that was the case. Okay. We are less than 2 minutes until we open here. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover? I'm going to flip over to my main workspace here real quick.
Looks like we're starting to get that movement from CYPH now.
Ooh, you don't say.
We just moved over 310, went up to almost 320. That just happened. That's a shake and bake move because that just happened.
Shake and bake, baby. All right, 13. I'm going to actually try to use the washroom before the opening bell. What stock would you like me to put up on the screen here?
Folks, what should we have them put up? Because you could have anything. I think you can leave this up if you like. Why do we still have under 100 likes? You know what, folks? Let's see if we can get over 100 likes before that bell.
Here's Target. We talked about this. They reported earnings here. They actually traded down. They're bouncing a little bit, but we'll see. Let me know if Target's a good day trade here today. 13, I'll be right back before we hit this opening bell.
Sounds good. Okay, so Target, let's see. They had earnings and they continue lower. How have they been doing on the daily? So this is coming down to some what is this? 6-year lows, almost. Coming down to 6-year lows that we're about to hit here. If we lose this spot at from the October low, which I have at 89.18. So if we lose 80, that can't be right. No, I'm sorry. It's 85.53. I'm sorry. I was looking at the open. 85.53 is the low there, and or 36, 85.36, right down in there. That if we lose that, we're at 6-year lows. Doesn't look like the earnings were very good. Let's take a look and see what those reported. So it's a mixed earnings. They beat on EPS, adjusted EPS, but they missed on sales. And it looks like they lowered their guidance. So that's always going to get a little bit of negative reaction from shareholders. So the guidance was lowered from $8 to $10 to $7.70 to $8.70 versus a $8.12 estimate. So that is not a good sign. It looks like the consumer might be continuing to experience some weakness. I think a lot of us already know about that.
Boom.
But Telsey Advisory Group still maintains a market perform and maintains a 110 price target. We are open. Let's see what the market gives us today. SGML already up out of the gate to VWAP.
MSTR, Jamie Dimon, joining us here again, might be making the stock move under 200. Looks like a 200 test coming right now. Ticker MSTR. Plug Power, this is one that we've been asked about recently. They recently did an offering here. Looks like last night they did an offering. It's bouncing so far here today. Looks like the pre-market high, about 186. We'll see if that gets taken off.
Yeah,
PayPal's getting slaughtered.
Jay Rice, I agree. I think TJ Maxx is much better than Target. I think you're going to see a lot of consumers go to the smaller, discount outlets. So that's why I like TJX. I like Ross. I like Dollar General. I like Dollar Tree. I think they're going to get a lot more business as the consumer is under pressure. Absolutely agree. And then everybody else.
And I agree with you guys. TJX best in breed of those that you just named.
And it looks like everybody's not liking Target either. I don't think that. I think that company's in some real trouble, and we've been saying that since they were, three figures in their stock price. You sold a put on Target. What are my thoughts? My thoughts are this company is in trouble, and I think that your put's probably a good move there. Ross has a ticker. I believe it's ROTS. I'm sorry, ROST.
ROST. Google here breaking higher here, 291. I'd watched for a move above this 294.5. Google strong right out of the gate.
Yes, Cam, Ross, ROST. That's what it is. All right. So we're also, as far as movers going, we have KZIA that found a bit of a bottom going into the open here. That's pushing up, trying to recapture the 200 EMA, looking for the 65. Looks like EPWK also trying to reverse after initially selling out the gate. And SGBX also had a pull that brought it beneath 4, but that since recovered. Not a great amount of volume in that one. And we are getting some real big movement from Rocket Lab all of a sudden after it sank into the open. It's coming up to a resistance area at about 43.50. See if we can get through that. SGBX is still trying to push higher. Looks like there's some resistance at 431.
For SGBX, huh? I took that one off my screen, unfortunately.
Looks like we're just getting a little bit of a slowdown in some movers. Some are not slowing down. Rocket Lab getting some of that resistance that I had mentioned. We'll see if it can push through.
SGBX looks like it's falling away from its VWAP. I'd watch 4. If that cracks, it probably goes down to this pre-market low at 382.
KZIA getting a little bit more volume here now, looking for the 65 EMA. There's a seller in the way at 829.
KZIA VWAP now 877. We talked about that maybe going back up to the VWAP when it was 890, 877 now.
That's
Seeing
it.
some NVIDIA, sorry, 13, NVIDIA call flow here ahead of the earnings report.
Yeah, I saw
that's upside buying.
Big Bear Hug. He bought CoreWeave calls into the NVIDIA earnings. That's interesting. So I guess you're bullish on the NVIDIA print. So what's the tell us a little bit more about that. What a move on Goog. Yeah.
You know what? Big Bear, is that Big Bear Hug? Yeah, Big Bear Hug. So this is interesting. So CoreWeave more beaten down than NVIDIA, especially recently, especially over like the past 30 days. Are you thinking if we see an NVIDIA beat here that some of the laggards tied to the AI trade maybe outperform?
That's a great idea. I think that could be the case if NVIDIA lifts the market. I think that's a good move.
SGBX testing 4, that might break and go to the downside. Okay, so you think CoreWeave's already found its bottom. Okay. And then any positive move in NVIDIA would be associated with CoreWeave, probably get better movement out it. Got it.
KCIA at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, trying to capture it right now.
Freeport, this popped out of the gate. This is at yesterday's pre-market highs. KZIA, let me bring that up here as well.
Yeah, that was FCX you were talking about, right?
Yep, Freeport.
Copper play, absolutely 100%. Great copper play, probably going to be very, very valuable in the future. Let's see here. Some of these space plays doing pretty well today. Look at the watch list.
You know, it's interesting. I actually did see. So here's some Redwire. These are calls, right? Yeah, Redwire calls. It looked like this was an earnings winner here. Guy had 4 calls, or the trader, excuse me, had 4 calls. Looks like they're liquidating that trade. That's trading up, by the way. Redwire going for that pre-market high.
Yeah, Redwire looking good right now. Planet Labs is up 4.5%. I don't know if they had news, but just seeing that that's up nicely.
Okay.
Also getting some of these other names are still in the single digits, low single digit percentages, but across the board here you have far more gainers than losers.
You got an in the money call buy here on Micron. The expiration here is the December contract. The 230 calls bought just about $400,000 spent on that. Looks like this might be a Micron bounce trade, judging by the chart and the recent price performance. I'm just guessing based off what I see here.
Okay, Micron news from today. NVIDIA shift to phone-grade memory sparks supply strain and rising server costs. So I don't know if you ended up watching that memory.
No, I didn't, dude. I totally dropped the ball. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's just I feel like there's some really good information in there about the state of memory and how it's going to really lead to some expensive tech in the future and a lot of products that we use, including phones, but also laptops, tablets, computers. We're going to see tech, I think, potentially get pretty expensive as supply as demand is raking in all the supply that we have, and it doesn't seem like the manufacturers are able to churn out as much products as quickly as the demand is eating them up. So just look at the prices of memory. You could. Here, I'll give you a little something to look at real quick. Just give me one tick here.
And real quick, while you're doing that, Google, just an absolute monster. Izzy, I hope that you got this one. If so, grats. I am disappointed in myself. I actually took a look at this earlier. It was like, yeah, Google could probably go higher here. New all-time high being put in right now. Google, an absolute rip to the upside, plus 4.4%. Anyone that had or has Google, you're going to get a register ring here. Huge move out of the open. I'm disappointed in myself for missing this one. This was an easy scalp.
So just posted in the chat there, PC Part Picker Trends. This is a website that helps you build a computer if you're into that. It gives you different visual information and to even track prices and know when the best time to buy is. All you got to do is just look at the price of memory over the past 2 months, and you see that we've gone up as high as 200% with some types of modules. It's absolutely insane to have such a spike in such a short period of time. So that information I think is really, really important to keep an eye on, because I think it's you're gonna see these this affect prices of tech across the board.
Google 300 call flow coming across the wire in both the Class A and B shares. Doesn't matter. This is moving higher. MBIS also moving higher. Grats. Marcus, I don't think I've seen Marcus here today. Hopefully he's out there. Maybe he just did so well, he's taking the day off here today. MBIS, more continued strength here. We're above yesterday's intraday high. MBIS looking good. By the way, Google stopped at 297.65 and backing off that a little bit. We'll see where that ends up settling. What a move. Izzy, you got Google at 292, 5 points out of the gate. Not bad, brother. Not bad at all. There's Marcus. There he is. What's going on, Marcus? How you doing in MBIS? How you doing?
We got a request to look at FRGT. This has news, and it is absolutely running. But the thing is, it's a penny stock, but still, it's got some news. It's trying to get over $1. It's been flirting with it since it had the news. Freight Technologies announces a commercial launch of Zaren, which is an AI pricing prediction tool, carrier matching platform. This is going to be, this could be big. This kind of technology. I think you're going to see a lot more of these. By the way, SGBX trying to push through this big seller just did new session high here now. This is going. I'm sorry, I'm just all over the place today.
It's fine, dude. It is totally fine.
But sorry, I was trying to get to that, Miss Lucy. But FRGT, that really really nice move. I like the news. It does look like we're also getting a bit of a short squeeze here. The float is highly shorted, but only one day to cover, so don't expect it to continue. Still, I like the news. I like the it's within a theme that we've been discussing about tracking and verification. And this is in that, and especially when it comes to how are we going to track tariffs and things like that. And this could be part of that answer. So very, very interesting news. FRGT, nice movement. You went from about 68, 69 cents all the way up to 107. Really great movement. Congratulations if you caught that.
Good stuff there.
Special like for our stock trading Texas cattle auctioneer. Look at SGBX go.
I would love it if you all of a sudden threw some Texas twang into that and we could actually get like auctioneer vibes going. That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
I don't know if I'm ready to embarrass myself like that yet, but maybe one day.
Take that.
SGBX, this thing is getting some real movement here. It's pulling back now, but this looks like it wants to fill the gap. It really
470 does. Looks to be that spot that it kind of stopped at. That was the after hours high from yesterday. Where's that gap on the daily chart that you were talking about?
If I recall, it's October 13th to 14th.
Yep, it's right in here. Yep. And it looks like the bottom end of that candle down there, low, open, close, 555. Looks to be that gap fill.
SGML is also continuing to rise. This has recaptured its VWAP. Next resistance is going to be at about 1015. Looking good there.
Every time we say SGML, I think about our viewer here, Smell. Because when you say SGML really fast, it like sounds like her name, and I keep thinking we're calling her for that. So I associate this stock with Smell. It's just how it goes. Smell, you have a new lithium stock. That's yours.
No problem, Miss Lucy. Pete, what's going on, Pete? What's no?
He might be having a tough day.
No. I don't know. I was just asking what he's saying no about it. There might be something that he has a different take on. I just was curious.
Oh, I'm certain that's the case.
Okay.
Plug here. This is still coming up off the bottom. Still can't get above the 187. That was a pre-market high that we wanted to take a look at. Let's see if we can get above that.
All right. More movement here. SGML. Let's searching out 10.
Boy, what a rip. Google also new high. That went right to 300. Boy, I tell you what, those call buyers already in profit. More 300 call sweeps there. They keep buying those calls to the upside. Those are actually for this week too. So that was a short-term trade. Wow.
All right. Rocket Lab putting in a series of upper shadows. Be careful. This might come back in some more. We'll see if it can hold above the 200 EMA. EPWK. This is coming down to the 65 EMA. This is one of the movers from this morning. Maybe it gets some support here. We'll see. KZIA at reverse at the 65 EMA, now losing the other EMAs and VWAP. The support's going to be at about 780. And if it can't hold that, then I would say that it comes back down to where it was taken off yesterday afternoon.
And what a rip there in Google. How's NVIDIA doing ahead of its earnings here today? NVIDIA 185. So we just deleted yesterday's down move so far.
Nice.
190, I think, is probably your next resistance area here on NVIDIA. Maybe it's going to slow down there in the 187 handle.
Apple is ripping his Tenzin. And looks like NBIS is also getting mentioned here. I'm going to take a look at that, see how that's doing today.
That had continuation from yesterday.
It's got some pretty good movement out of the gate here this morning.
Marcus, 84 from yesterday, 11 plus points here. Let those winners run, baby. Ring that register. Let's go. NBIS, this, and actually yesterday, I remember talking about the 85 break here. Marcus was on it right before we actually got that 85 break. That dip gave you a really good opportunity to buy that. I actually got left on the bid for that, unfortunately.
Oh, do you see the trend line starting from the?
Yeah, I think I do actually. Literally, as soon as you started to say trend, it like lit up and like glowed on the screen there for
November
me. So
17th through yesterday's high through today's high. I would want to see this trend line get broken and then be used as support. That would give me a little more confidence that we're going higher. And I think that some of you folks are already thinking this is going higher, so you already got the confidence. But this would be the trend line I'd want to see get taken out. OLMA offering. Oh yeah, I think we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Jay Rice mentioning DY. It's ripping on earnings. Also buying an electrical company. Take a peek at the PLPC. At PLPC also does similar electrical. Biz has come down too. Let's take a look at those. Dycom. They had earnings.
Which one? Which ticker was this? Sorry.
DY.
DY.
Mm-hmm. Good earnings, beats. Looks like they raised their guidance, so this is raising the price. I'm gonna write this one down. Looks like something to look into some more. Then you also said
that's a huge move. Huge move.
Let's see here. This one also appears to have had earnings recently too, at the end of last month. Beat on top and bottom. I don't see any. I don't see any guidance. Might not have any. Another electrical equipment company. Where are they out of? Let's see here.
Oh my gosh.
What's that?
The lag is causing me to click too many times, and I'm unable to turn the squawk on. It's frustrating. There we go. There we go.
Global headquarters. All right. Anyone in HL missed it? So day traders asking if anyone is in HL.
That's Heckler Mining. Is that what that is? HL.
Now, what's the? I know that there's going to be a lot of mining places opening up here. What's the story with this one?
Netflix back down to 111, by the way. PayPal looks like it found a bottom at 60, at least so far. I don't even know if that's going to hold.
So PLPC, that's out of Ohio. Okay. Specifically related to data centers. So there's EQIX, and I think there's DLR. Those are REITs. And those are the real estate stocks that I think that I looked at the most when I was kind of figuring out this whole data center thing. So it's those two. I know there's others, but I think you're going to want to look for REITs that specialize in data centers.
We had some of those. I feel like we talked about some of those.
Now that you say that, let me see if I've got anything on my watch list. I just might.
Oh, B-Fly, Butterfly Network. This popped out of the gate on volume. Boy, Google, what a move out of the gate there. Grats. Nice job, Izzy. 298 there on Google. 300 now on Google. This is going higher here. Izzy, register ring. Pete had Google. I think that's what he was talking about there. That worked. Pete, how's the Sinclair short? Asking for a friend. Carvana is also getting mentioned here.
Yeah, I don't seem to have a list for real estate stocks for data centers, but start with those two. I think those are two good ones.
I remember talking about this on Happy Hour, but I don't remember putting a data center specific REIT list. I think Tim had a couple of those. Obviously, thinking about it, mentioning EQIX here is probably one of the better ones. Market, by the way, ripping. SPY, NASDAQ at the highs, Dow just kind of in line. Ondas above 8.
What's the VIX at?
VIX is at 2320. That is melted from the open.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday, if we do get this move up in the SPY or in the broader market, we'd probably see the VIX potentially go under 20. We'll see. Yeah, and
well,
EQIX and DLR, they haven't been good lately, I think. I haven't looked at them in a while. And I also think that EQIX had a short report at one point. I want to say it was earlier this year or last year. Let's see here. So, yeah, this is coming off of the near 1,000 high that it had, EQIX. But I think it's also, tied to rates a little bit too. This one doesn't, of course, it's REIT. Yeah, this is coming down to a support area. We'll see if it can hold up. We want to see it hold above 720, I would say. So Pete's short of Sinclair. I think that was that with regard to the whole, I don't want to get into it, but I think there's concern about them and Disney and ABC and things like that. You don't have to get into it, but is that what you were shorting it on?
No, he's just shorting it because it's Republican leaning, but it was
gotcha.
$13 prior to earnings and it's 16 now. So glad he made money on it.
Yep. Oh, I'm not long on the VIX. I was just wondering what it was because I just had a thought yesterday and wanted to see if it ended up panning out. I am not long or short the VIX. STECX.
Yeah, I don't mess around with that either. Which one? STCX?
STEC. Sandtech. I think this is one of the movers from this morning. Let's see here.
Wait, what was the ticker again? I'm
STEC.
Isn't that what I just typed in? Oh, STCX, I think, is what I typed in instead.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jay. Them being in the same sector, you'd think that Meta wouldn't be down so much. But man, the thing that I just really dislike about Meta is just the amount of capital they're spending. And I've also read recently, and this is not just unique to Meta; it's also for Google too. But they're having to maybe reroute their plans for laying more fiber optic cable to globally connect around the world. They just can't do it through these high conflict areas in the Red Sea. So they're having to reroute, and I think that could end up hurting Meta more than Google because of Meta's CapEx that seems to be a little bit out of control. Amazon is giving up the entire gap from earnings. PLD is becoming
Amazon below 220, which was the Bezos sell level that we highlighted days on end, I believe. And Costco, by the way, that's the other chart we should review here, 13. Did you have something that you wanted to go into right away?
No.
Okay, we should review the Costco chart and probably also the PayPal chart. Those were both charts that folks asked about. We have been talking about Costco a lot recently. Costco, I think you have to remind me what your level is here. I think it was 860-ish. We're at 880 now. We're actually testing the 500-day today. 877.5 is your level on that.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this.
This to me looks like a support level here for Costco.
Well, 875 is the line I've had drawn for months. I think since maybe even could even be since last year. I don't know, but 875, that's the level that I've had drawn for some time. We are down at the 500-day SMA, so that's great too to see that we're getting down to those levels. But this is also getting into. It's not it's like on the doorstep. It's getting to be oversold.
Yep.
So
13, if this goes actually oversold right at the level that you had outlined, I think that might be worth trying to swing long.
I mean, it could even be lower than 875. It could be 860. It could be 850. It could be one of those down there. But I think we're in the territory now where we should start to see buyers step in. So I think this is a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I haven't added to Costco. I'll think about this, but I'm kind of tempted now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, just keep in mind that still could go lower. I still see some downside potentially ahead, but not a whole lot more. I think a lot of the selling has happened in this, and unless they have some more bad news that brings it down further, I think that we're about the end of this sell off here for that.
Okay, That's good. That's good to keep in mind. We'll watch. I want to see how that closes with respect to the 500-day. The other chart that I wanted to review here real quick, we'll go back to the main page scanner here, is PayPal. Someone was asking what the levels lower were. I think I'm getting that right. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Someone was asking for what the levels lower were. $60 was definitely one of them, but I believe we've really been talking about this $56 level.
I have 57. Yep. But yeah, 56, 57, either one is fine.
Okay, so PayPal here also similarly about to enter oversold territory. Maybe this can actually move down towards 56. I am a glutton for punishment, so I guess that if this moves down to 56, we'll try another small call position on this one. Swing long, that is, call position.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have a pretty, if you believe that 56, 57 is where the support is in this one, then you have an opportunity to carefully and, over time, depending on how you're trading this, or if you're looking at this as an investment, to get in between 56 and 60, because it looks like that's about where you're going to get some support. Now, if you think that we're not going any lower at 56, I don't know if we are or not. We could, but if we do, these are the levels that I would be looking at: 52 and 50. That'd be some levels I'd be looking at if we lose 56.
Okay, so 52, 50, or 50, 52, 56. Those are your downside levels there on PayPal. Really good stuff. That's at a support level. It's trying to bounce. Costco also at that support level or near it that we talked about. No bounce, it looks like, yet on Costco. Amazon continuing its weakness here, 218. Izzy, let me ask you, what is your next buy spot for Amazon if it does kind of find support at one of those levels? I'll be curious about that.
Looks like EPWK. The volume's not great, but it looks like it's trying to turn back up and move towards some of the pre-market highs. There's also a little bit of a trend line here. Remember, this is the junky China name, so be careful with this one. But it does look like if you drew a trend line here, you have a bit of a potential breakout around 190, 190, 195. So let's see if we get some volume there in that one.
Joe, you're asking the right question here. PayPal had good earnings. Why has it been such a wretched stock since then? It feels like something is broken or sick there, to be quite honest with you. I'm with you on that. Like, I want to trade it for the long side or to the long side. It looked like it wanted to pop. You got some news there that popped it back up to like 75. It's so weak. It cannot hold any of its gains. And so we'll try, I guess, if it can firm up at a support level, I guess we'll try it there, but don't feel great about that one, to be quite honest with you.
SGML, this has continued to go up. We're actually experiencing the first red candle on our 5-minute chart once it hit the 10, looks like 1065 high there. We're pulling back a little bit, but let's see if we get some support from the VWAP. That's going to be down. I have that down at about 980.
Okay, that's SGML. NVIDIA here at the highs ahead of its earnings. SanDisk trying to move higher. MP, 13. MP back up towards the pre-market high. We'll get in there. What were you looking at?
Alish wants to look at NUVB. I don't know what this one is. This is Nuvation Bio. This is just got a big move off of its 20-day SMA. Let's see if there's any news here. Really moving right now. I don't know. I haven't looked at the volume yet. Apparently, this had a buy. It was given a buy rating with a price target of $12 by B. Riley. Remember them?
Yeah. Was this, Kathy, was this one that you were talking about on Friday?
Ooh. High short interest, high days to cover. This is in our. This is what we're looking for a short squeeze.
And some new highs here. I wonder if shorts are going to cover into this move. I feel, Kathy, you'll have to remind me if you brought or was NUVL? There was one that you brought up here recently. I could have been confusing it. Maybe it wasn't this one.
If you look at a daily chart or a longer term time frame, and you look back to early 2022, you can see that there's an area here that is providing some levels that we can use to determine where those selling areas might be. Looks like one could be at about 575 and the other at about 6.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? FRGT. How's that doing?
I was getting some love. NBIS, that was a great call because we did come down. We got some support from the VWAP. This is turning around, and it looks like it wants to try and take out the session high of 95.58. We're coming back up to the trend line.
Here is NBIS. That was a great call. Great call. We'll see if we hit that trend line.
INTC,
Almost tested it earlier here today. We'll see if we get that on the second move.
INTC getting mentioned. Looks like this is trying to get back over its 50-day SMA.
Amer Sports, some continuation after its positive earnings yesterday. We're at 35 now. Giddy up in the 40 calls for March on that. Ooh, let this trade work out. That would be something great.
BIS. Look at that.
Got it.
And just look at it do its thing. Right up to the trend line that we wanted to see get hit. Now we want to see this price get over the trend line and hold above it. That would give us a lot more confidence for some continued upside in the stock. Let's see what we get. Tesla's going. Okay. Does Benzinga teach about trading the VWAP?
Well, we do all the time, I feel like. VWAP is one of our most common indicators that we talk about trade setups, support, resistance levels carved out by the VWAP. I feel like we do that here. I'm pretty sure some of our educators like Mark Petrino, maybe not so much Mark, he's a little bit more long-term, but I'm pretty sure Matt Maley, Chris Capri have VWAP stuff in their education. I mean, I don't even really, you're rarely going to hear me say this, but I don't really think you need Benzinga for that, right? You could look up VWAP or some YouTube videos on VWAP and get a pretty good understanding. However, we do use this every single day. Mm-hmm. Every single day we use this here. So if you want to learn some more about that, I'm sure sticking around here will help you with that. I know a lot of our traders look at that too.
I think Capri has really outlined some really good ways of trading off VWAP and the reasons for doing it. So I think if there's going to be somebody to maybe lean on for some really good ways to trade the VWAP, I think it might be him. That's just my opinion based off some of the things I've seen him talk about when it comes to VWAP. There's some other details he talks about, like institutional investors usually using that as an area to hide their trades. We've talked about that before. I'm sure he's done that before. So I think if there's going to be somebody that would probably be able to get into it really deep, it might be him. I don't know, but I think that would be my opinion.
Okay.
Not that we don't talk about it here, though. Like you said. ONDS shake and bake. All right.
I'll take it.
What just happened? Okay. Well, we got some upward movement here out of the gate. Went higher than yesterday's high, and then we're still above the 50-day SMA. So it looks like the next area of resistance is going to be up around 830 if it can't. But I think it looks like we need to get over 8 first. But if we do get over 830 is next. That's the next resistance, I think.
Tesla monster reversal here. Tesla just a huge bounce off 400 here. Now 410. Nice 10-point move there. Damn, I missed that one too.
There you go.
Slow on all these fills today.
There you go. Jay Rice providing a name there for you to look up and follow. Brian Shannon.
Brian Shannon is excellent. He is the father of, I believe, the anchored VWAP.
There you go.
His book on VWAP is great. Actually, that's something that you could do. Brian Shannon, friend of Benzinga here. He's actually been on the show one time. I got an autographed copy of his book. I'm happy to say you could pull that up on Amazon. Brian Shannon's VWAP book. That's not bad.
There you go. Open Door getting a mention. ONDS has a rocket emoji next to it, and CW Parker also mentioning OLMA. So is that turning around after their offering?
Yes, it is. That came down all the way to 19. I think the offering was at 19. Here we are at 21. This curling up here. OLMA, good mention.
Yep, good stuff. Coming up to a resistance area of about 22, I want to say 22.30. If you look at the price action from yesterday, ever since we lost that level, assuming it was from the offering, it's been struggling to get back above it. So I think today we're going to want to see that particular level get recaptured. 22.30, I think the spot is. Now, keep in mind, we are pretty extended here on the smaller time frame, so there might be some pullback first before we try and take that out. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, good stuff there on OLMA. Mm-hmm. We talked about this one. They did the offering, I think, in the after hours. And then here today, it looks like that's getting bought up. Was there another one? Let me hang on a sec. Let me take a look at the news here on that offering, because I think there was possibly more that closed tomorrow. Let's see here. 10 million shares, the common stock price of $19 per share. No, so it was just this. Okay, but 19.
Folks mentioning Broadcom, this is on an absolute tear right now. They had news.
That was a rip right out of the open on AVGO.
I'll take it. They expanded their NEC partnership to help businesses modernize cloud setups. They also announced the availability of Brocade X8 directors, a G820 56 port switch, also entering. Nope, I'm sorry, that's different. But introduced the world's first quantum safe Gen 8 128 gig SAN switch portfolio. A lot of news coming out for Broadcom today. Rocket Lab, please. We looked at that one earlier. That just hit 44 and backed off. What's the thought here? Because this is one that I think is going to do great over time. Looks like they just we talked about how they got a price target raise from 50 to 60 by B of A. There's some other price targets I've seen that go up to the 70s and 80s. I think that because of the amount of government contracts they're getting, and that they're going to continue to get, and their Neutron rocket upcoming maiden launch next year, that's going to compete with SpaceX's Falcon 9. There's a lot of really positive things down the road happening here for Rocket Lab. I think this will be good long term. They actually just had earnings that show that they were beating estimates. Let me see if I can find that where I last saw their earnings. Let's see, here we go. That was back on November 10th.
ASTS asked us here, this also moving maybe with Rocket Lab there, but this also up 5+% here at the hives. We talked about this with Red Dog yesterday. He gave you a buy area here, 49.52. Haven't got there yet, but keep that one on the chart.
Yeah,
potential ad area.
The thing that I think a lot of people are concerned about Rocket Lab is that it's got a pretty high market cap relative to its revenue, and I still believe that this will grow into their revenue. They're getting a lot of business, and they have a dedicated launch site just for the U.S. government in Virginia. I think they're going to be great, and their last earnings show that they had a 3 cent loss on EPS versus the 11-cent estimate. This is getting really, really close to being profitable, just like SpaceX was. They dealt with negative quarters. They finally became profitable. Now they net over $3 billion a year. So I expect Rocket Lab to follow in those footsteps, especially after they get their Neutron rocket going. All right.
Lunar getting mentioned in the chat. We'll see if that's moving with some of these other space stocks here. Let me actually refresh Pro. I'm getting a little too much lag here real quick. Here is Lunar.
Let's go back to the watch list of.
Oh wow! Sorry, 13. It's my platform being slow here. I'll try and refresh it so I can speed up and actually move along with the pace of play here. Lunar right at yesterday's intraday high. Possible resistance area. If it pops through this, maybe it goes a little bit higher. 13. Let me refresh Pro here.
Yeah, I kind of stopped thinking about Lunar because the whole tipping over on the moon kind of thing.
Sure.
They were supposed to have another launch. I think it was supposed to be last month. I didn't look into that at all. So I don't know if it just happened without me looking at it. But that would be something that I would have to take a look at to see if that ended up launching or not. Because that was the next scheduled one they had. Looking around at the other space names, Planet Labs now up almost to 8%. We have momentous MNTS. That is up 4.25%. A lot of these names doing really, really well today. And you pointed out ASTS, it's up over 4%.
Yeah.
Rocket Lab, I think they're still climbing. We're over $44 now. Looking great there. And then Spire Global, SPIR, that's another one that's up 5%. There's another one that we were getting asked about, Sidus Space. That's actually down. That one continuing to come in.
Bought Lunar at 850. Aura Alpha saying bought Lunar at 850. I'm targeting 10. CEO bought 10 million ? I don't see that. Was that recently? I do see the director here was what's his name? Michael Blitzer. I love that. The name, if your last name has Blitz in it in any way, that's like a power name. He bought a bunch here. He owns 1.93 million shares, recently bought 241. I don't see that recent one. You'll have to let me know when that happened. If it was last night, maybe that's why it's not in the chart yet. Nope.
Lunar very close to short squeeze candidate. Has the float shorted. That's good. Days to cover 4.38, just shy of the 5 we're looking for. But I think that you're seeing a little bit of squeezing action nonetheless. Let's take a look here and see if I can get any information on the insiders you were looking at. You said that there was a insider purchase
For Lunar?
For Lunar, yeah.
Yeah, it was the director, Michael Blitzer.
Okay.
That was an open market buy on the 13th of November. 909 is what they paid for it.
Yeah, that's at least 2.19 million that they paid. So it's not the 10, but it's still a lot. It's still a good sign. And not only that, but he was also granted shares earlier this year as well.
It looks like he's building a position.
Oh yeah,
through grants and open market buys
and options.
By the way, CoreWeave, which we talked about earlier, it really hasn't done much here, but are seeing some calls get bought into that. $331,000 on that trade on CoreWeave.
Oh, I appreciate that, Tom. It's just you read a lot.
But I'll second what Tom says. You have kids. So the fact that you're able to read that much, retain that much information, and still be an A+ dad, that is the impressive part. Because when it comes for reading, for me, it's a trade-off. I'm either trading something away, and generally I don't trade my sports away when I probably should.
Fortunately, I got time when they're at school.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And you're right, Jay. The valuations for a lot of those names that we've been looking at, comes to the drones, the nuclear, the space, the quantum. Oh yeah, those valuations all got out of control. Absolutely, and so they should come back in. Some of these shouldn't come back in as much as others. I don't think Rocket Lab should come back in as much as let's say ASTS. I don't think. Let's see, what's another one? I don't think ONDS should come back in as much as, what's another name?
RCAT.
RCAT. Yeah, there are some that I think have valuations that are less lofty than others that kind of deserve them and will grow into their valuations. Rocket Lab's one of those, but there are some others. I absolutely agree. They don't belong in these valuations. Absolutely.
Intel here. Someone mentioned Intel earlier. This looks like this is curling up here on the daily chart. I have the price level here at 37.60. That must have been a price level from before. It looks like when we traded back up to this area, that was both support and resistance. That's probably why it's on here. How's NVIDIA doing? Still. Okay, NVIDIA is still holding near the highs ahead of its print.
We're going to have to get to Rigetti because I know that we were getting asked about.
I'll bring it up right now. You got it.
I don't know what Bird Dog needs help with, but he's asking for it. And yeah, you're just pointing out NVIDIA, that's still climbing. I don't have a position in this anymore. I got out over 40 when they had that most recent pop up of the trend line that we drew. All right, let me look at Rigetti here for some levels.
Yeah, so I you know what? Here, I'm going to go back to the 5-minute chart. I'm actually going to put RGTZ in this chart. Let me go back to the bigger chart and we'll take a look at RGTI together. That way, if we have to add any levels to this for that particular trade, that's what we'll do.
I mean, at the very least, it looks like we're going to potentially see a print of 27. Now, we did get rejected at that level back on the last week on the 13th when we opened, right about there, and then tried to recapture it early and then sold off the rest of the day. So 27 is going to be an early spot for me for resistance. But if we do get through that, then 28 is pretty much where the gap fills, and that's what I'd be looking at next.
Okay. I'm for Rigetti here. I'm wondering if this $28 is actually going to represent any type of resistance for us to maybe load RGTZ. That's kind of what I'm figuring out here. If that doesn't work, I'm thinking maybe 31-ish. That's going to be our trend line that originated at the high on October 15th. Yeah. I just want to try to figure out where the next RGTZ load zone is, 13.
It might be on that gap fill. I don't want to, say like, oh, it's here, it's going to be here. I'm giving levels because there are potentially areas where we can get that. I don't have a position in RTG's Z anymore.
Me either.
I trade. This has been such a great trade.
Yeah, it has.
But
I mean, if this thing goes back to single digits, there's more on the bone for that.
Yeah, but it has been selling a lot, and no stock just continues to sell until it goes right to zero. You do see bounces from time to time, some reversals. So that's a little bit what we're getting right now, and I don't think it's going to be a very long-lived reversal. I just don't know exactly what the levels are, but I suspect it's going to be at those 27, 28 levels that we were looking at earlier. And then, Jay, I think Nokia is a great idea, and I know that they've run up and it's come back in since. But you have the European Union that's wanting to move away from Huawei and get more invested with their network infrastructure using their own European brands like Nokia and Ericsson. So I don't necessarily think that Nokia is a bad play. I think you may just be a little bit early on the bounce, but it's up to you. But I don't think that's a loser. I think that's a great long-term play. We're just this is a matter of where you're getting into it, because I still think based on what I just said, I still think that's a good idea.
That's what I was just going to ask. Where's the nibble level there, Jay?
Yeah.
Is it that 5 3/4 spot, 575?
Maybe the 50. I don't know. I don't know what his trade plan is, but I think that Nokia is a good idea for the play on the European Union wanting to use their own in-house brands.
IREN, this ripping out of the gate here. Citizens initiated coverage on the stock with market outperform and slapped an $80 price target. IREN.
This doesn't look great to me. Today the price action is good, but if it can't get over that 50-day SMA, I think it turns around and goes lower.
What's the 50 at? I only have the EMAs on this chart. What's the value for that?
50-day SMA is 53.71.
Okay, 53.71. I actually have 53.10 as the 9 EMAs, so right in that same area there.
I feel like I haven't really taken much of a breath.
Yeah, take a breath, dude. It's okay.
No,
how many cups of coffee did you have?
I'm almost. Hold on.
There you go.
One.
Okay, you finished your first one. Okay, awesome.
And look at this. Oh man, great move in NBIS. Whoever was, I forget who was trading this, but
he's on his way to pick up his kids. He's probably super happy.
Oh, dude, when he comes back, he's going to be ringing that register. We also getting some more upside from SGML. This has probably been one of the best movers out of so far today. Probably going to be the best mover today that we were looking at. This back up to the pre-market high, 1082. So could see some resistance there, or it could break through it. Make sure you're paying yourself on the way up with these folks.
Definitely.
The other ones that we looked at, EPWK, not really doing a whole lot. KZIA, not doing a whole lot. SGBX, that was great at the beginning, but now it's kind of lost some volume. It's trying to recapture the VWAP. It's going to need some more volume if it's going to get back through that.
CYPH Cypherpunk here. We did recapture the VWAP. This is trying to go higher here. I've got VWAP 291.
Oh, Matthew, you're doing great. You're doing great. Wiss
let me give Matthew. I don't think I specified Matthew getting a registering. Let me specify that. There you go, Matthew.
Alfred mentioning MP up 12%. We've talked about why that's going up. Great work on that one.
Yes, sir.
G10G man is talking about Oklo about to break. Let's take a look at that. I guess I need to type it in again.
CYPH here. Let's see what that can do above 3 there. I'll go to Oklo here, see if there's another trade on this one.
Now, what is it about to break here? Is this a upside resistance level, or is this like kind of an area that we marked off here? Because it looks like it's trying to get into the 106 handle. I'm not sure what is exactly breaking here. If I go to a daily chart,
I have the trend line, the trend line that we've been talking about all year that we just recaptured today.
Okay, got you. Well, I mean, then it's not about to break it. that trend line, anyway.
It's holding it.
Okay, so the resistance that I'm seeing here, we lost it earlier this month. This was 110. That was a support area back in September when we initially broke through that, came back in, got that as support. Was support ever since November 6th when we broke back beneath it. So 110, big area in OKLO.
And real quick here, 13. So I'm just looking at the daily chart here. Got what looks like a head and shoulders here. What's that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big concern I have with OKLO.
Yeah, and so this 110 level is about your neckline could represent resistance there. There you go. So great that we recaptured that, but let's see if we can get a move above that 110.
Yep. Still a little bit of concern when it comes to this pattern, and you know, if this ends up resolving the way that these patterns typically do, it could. I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but if the market turns negative, this might end up coming down under 30.
So real quickly here, you just talked about scaring people. I don't think anybody should be scared, frankly. First of all, you shouldn't be scared when someone else looks at a stock and has an opinion on it. Their opinion should not scare you. If that's the case, something is off in your calculus. Tim Melvin actually talked about this yesterday. And the other thing Tim Melvin talked about, we did a webinar on bear market bombs, and some of these high-flying nuke stocks were on that list. So just something else to keep in mind there. We'll see if that 110 provides any resistance for it. Yeah,
and you know, like I said, it might not even get down there. I mean, it might have some other news, or there might be some regulatory measures that get nixed that help move the nuclear thing along and get the nuclear plants open sooner. But just based on the pattern, it looks to me like if we are going to get a full resolution of this head and shoulders, we could end up falling under 30 at some point. So we'll see if that ends up happening. White Chocolate Mocha
so far held 60.
White Chocolate Mocha mentioning that NAC lawsuit in Alaska federal court will resume. Now, this should be the EPA lawsuit, correct? Because that's really the big hurdle. We need to get that vetoed or reversed so that NAC can move forward. Yeah, and exactly, Jay. And so when it comes to NAC, it really just, I've mentioned a lot, it really does come down to what happens with the EPA lawsuit, if that gets reversed or not. That's the biggest hurdle right now. SGML continuing to put in new highs now. I think it just put in a high over the pre-market. Congratulations to anybody that took this one.
Yeah, I was going to say that one wasn't on there. I'm still upset about missing Google, but
I traded this one briefly, but I didn't stick around in this. You know, looking at all tickers and whatnot. I just wanted to be in and out. But man,
gains are gains, bro.
It would have been much better if I had just held this.
I love. Hang on, really quickly here. Jane here saying, I find getting rid of all of the noise hearing this or that makes me trade 100% better. Brian said deleting Reddit and StockTwits was a turning point for me. You guys have heard me talk a lot about Benzinga Pro really being the turning point for me prior to working here. I came from using Twitter at the time pretty extensively for that, and you guys are onto something here about the noise and being able to tune that out, being able to focus on your own trading plan. That's definitely going to better your results.
You know, I would go so far to say that if were looking at Reddit and you were looking at StockTwits and you were reading what they had to say about stocks, why not just read SEC filings? Why not just read those? I mean,
no gifs and memes in those, though.
I mean, if you're going to spend, my point is, if you're going to spend time reading about a stock, why not hear from the horse's mouth? I mean, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I cannot argue with you. You're absolutely right.
So I would say that if you're looking for something to read and you like a stock and you want to know about what they're saying about their company and their future, read those filings. They really are very valuable sources of information.
OMA here. This had that nice impulse move post offering, pull back to the 9 EMA and a nice bounce. 23 is the next resistance area higher here on OMA, currently at 22.40. The stock only spread about 10-15 cents. Yeah, in StockTwits, every stock is going to the moon 1,000%. Yeah, we've seen those. Seen that quite a bit.
What's their time horizon? I mean, they'll be right given enough
next
time.
Week.
That's wrong.
Well, I know.
You tell me 10 years. You tell me 10 years from now, I'd be like, they might be right. They might be right. 10 years from now. Vic
actually bringing this is interesting. Vic says StockTwits is good for sentiment only. You know what's interesting about that, Vic? We're talking with Landon this morning from Likefolio. I think the thing that I like the most about his platform is being able to en masse derive sentiment from social posts. And I guarantee, well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know, but I would suspect with a high confidence level that StockTwits is going to be one of those places where they're aggregating that information from, and that might be why that works so much. Vic, that's correct. I think there's definitely some value there.
Yeah. SGBX is going. I think I just looked at that for a second. Yeah, it's recapturing the VWAP right now. Still needs to get back above that 475 high that we put in earlier this morning, but you are right. It is recapturing VWAP, trying to move higher. Let's see if it gets past this resistance area that I was dealing with earlier this morning around 450.
Boeing call. Someone I think mentioned Boeing earlier here today.
They did.
Boeing having a kind of a rough day after the PR about those new orders that it got, but I'm seeing calls get bought into this.
Yeah, that's what they said, that it was getting hammered today. Man, that's not looking good. But you know what? RSI very low. It's coming down to a bit of a support area.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Potentially, a reversal coming. I don't know what price, but it's not going to. This downside pressure is going to last forever, and we're getting to a point where it is pretty oversold. So I would, let's see what happens around 180. I think we're at one right now around 185, but let's see what we get with 180. Maybe it does at 180.
Here's another one, 100% cutting out Discord groups, X, and other social from my trading decisions has cleared my thoughts and helped me making my own trading decisions based on real data, news, etc. You are a trader, my son. That's awesome, Profit Logics. That's the exact type of thing that we're trying to foster here. I understand everyone learns at a different pace and might need some helping hands along the way, and that's fine. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to share things here. But ultimately, your success story is going to come down to whether or not you can repeat what you're trying to do on a regular basis. And you're not going to be able to do that based off someone else's opinion, as the group is pretty much all mentioning here. You guys all seem to be in agreement there, which is awesome.
Thank you, Jay, for the MDT mention. This has been a great one, and it also is one of the ones that helped out our soldier from the comments. Yes, yeah. So MDT, another great name on the medical device side. I got a whole series of upgrades. If you look at the news feed, lots of red bars.
Red highlights, yeah. Goldman Sachs upgrade 111. Oh man, there's a ton. I don't even want to read them all, but there's been a lot of upgradings here. And real quick, Sean, if you're still out there, you had said you were injured in 2004. Were you in Najaf by chance? Just out of curiosity, Najaf, Iraq. Let me know. Okay. What else we got? What else you guys?
Yes, Mid would like to look at MRVL.
Marvell, okay. I was going to say, I don't have any setups here at the moment. The couple of good trades that we had here today pretty much just ran away. You had to be in them early, haven't given a lot of reload there.
This one looks like it's moving up after it got an upgrade from Goldman Sachs. Price target to 80, so we got up there today. Let's see.
No, southeast of Kandahar. Okay, that wasn't the greatest area either.
I think one of the things that we were looking at with Marvell is if some of these tech trades continue to do well, that this is going to end up going because it's like a little bit of a laggard. Maybe with these NVIDIA earnings end up doing that. I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to end up getting that or not. It's come down to a support area. It just doesn't quite look like it's about ready to turn around yet. It has earnings in 2 weeks. I think the thing that I would want to see here with this one is a recapture of that 50-day SMA. It might go down and test the 500 and the 200-day SMAs first, but we need to get back above that 50. Otherwise, I think we're going to probably end up seeing the lower prints.
Cam, regarding PSNL, why the pop? I don't know that this is necessarily why, but this is the only piece of news that I have here. Personalis, excuse me, they're going to present at the Piper Sandler 37th Annual Healthcare Conference. That's on Tuesday, December 2nd. Doesn't give a time, but it's going to be presenting there at that Piper Sandler Healthcare Conference. Maybe it's some bullishness ahead of that. This has got price targets in the low teens, so it's a little bit beneath that. But other than that, I don't see any direct news moving it. That PR about that participation in the conference, by the way, came yesterday in the after hours.
Yeah, so
So
that's
it's
going to
just trading up a little bit after that. That's all.
give a little carryover into today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. There was really no after hours volume yesterday. All right, Tesla here still holding near the highs. What a reversal. Still a 10-point reversal as this thing held 400. Seeing some more calls get bought above. Unsure if it ends up going there. Lyft here, what's this? This is a 14 calls, but that was a closing order. That's for sure. Ring the register for that person.
White chocolate mocha. I thought that was supposed to be in January. Was that extended? Because I recall that the Department of Justice has a deadline to file their brief. But I thought that was in January that they had the deadline too. So was that extended? Thanks for the update on that. That's great, by the way. Let's see. We're looking at DLO. The 2 days dips has climbed right back. Let's look at DLO. D local LTD. This is what is this? Financial services company. I don't know anything about this one. Looks like this is what is this, a Latin American company? Let me know. I don't know enough about this one. I'll look at the chart and give you my opinion on the chart, but I don't know enough about this. Not like in the past 3 days. That's not a good look. It's coming up to a resistance area here. But, I'm not sure about this one. I don't know enough about it. I haven't seen it, how it trades. Maybe there's, maybe it can get back up to 1350, but I don't know how much higher. We'd have to see a lot more volume. It would need some kind of catalyst. I really can't give a much of a great opinion on this one because I just don't know enough about it. However, it does look like this is a short squeeze candidate. 17.36 of the float shorted, 7.3 days to cover. That's a candidate for a potential short squeeze. I really don't have anything else to add to that, unfortunately. Sorry, I can't give you more.
SOXL is riding the 9 EMA. SOXL. I'll tell you what, if you really wanted, if you had a pretty good feel for some of these market moves, in particular tech, SOXL and SOXS, you can do those any day, right? If it's going down, trade SOXS. If it's going up, trade SOXL. This nice move here right out of the open. This basically right to where it's set in the after hours on Monday this week. Super liquid and easy to trade there. Sorry, 13. SGBX, sorry, 13 again. SGBX going for the after hours and intraday high here. This did curl up and move away from the VWAP.
Thank you, Michael Anthony, for that piece on DLO. That's helpful. There was also a comment, I think Jay made it, about UNH and doesn't think the market likes Gottlieb on the board. It looks like they're really not rewarding the stock that way now. It might be coming down to a support area. I don't think we're quite back in oversold territory, but we're really close. I think the thing that we would have to watch out for is if we do end up losing 300, that we'd be watching that 295 level. Because if we lose that, we're going to gap fill down to looks like about 275. So something to keep in mind here with UNH.
Yeah, Jay, with the SOXL, you're right on that. And that's for semiconductors. The SOXS is such a low price. I would actually prefer SQQQ just for trading purposes, but you're right. You could just add more. Zach,
you're right. We have the brunch time, the stock market brunch time is what's happening. And then there was also a question, is a recession coming? So even Besant has already said that some parts of the economy are already in recession. And I think that's kind of what goes into the whole K-shaped market recovery that we're in right now. Some areas having recessions, some certainly aren't. So yes and no, not a broad recession, but some areas are.
Yeah, Professor Jeremy Siegel, he disagrees. Maintains a constructive long-term view on the economy and the stock market, asserting the macro still argues for resilience rather than recession. So there might be some areas that are weaker than others, but overall, I don't think so.
No, I don't, it's not looking like we're going to get an overall recession unless the ones that are already in recession don't recover, and the ones that have been flying start coming in pretty hard.
Shady, this is a really good question. What helped you the most from Pro? So it's actually been a number of different things over the course of time. The very first thing that I benefited from Pro when I opened the box, if you will, when I immediately signed up for it, was Squawk. It was the Squawk tool. That's what I was after. I was after an audio feed that knew what they were doing. I tried Trade the News. I tried scans, or I tried a couple of different services that had a Squawk service. There was another one that began with an X. I can't remember the name. This was a long time ago. And it was so clear that the Benzinga Squawk and Charlie was just, it was so superior that instantly I found benefit. In fact, I had my subscription paid for in the first week because of a trade that I made directly off of the Squawk. Now, since then, I folded in a lot more things like you're seeing here. Obviously, the scanner tool was an ad after I was working there because I kept saying, guys, we really need to have a real-time scanner. We didn't have that first. So obviously that's near and dear to my heart since I use it every day. I use the news feed, the filtered news feed. I don't understand how people use news feeds that aren't filterable like the one in Pro is. Like, I have news feeds in my broker in Thinkorswim. It's like an afterthought. Like, there's nothing you can really do with it other than read stuff. And if I'm trying to find stuff, I actually use the newsfeed here in Pro. And then the other aspect of it is having all of the data that we talk about every single day in one spot. Just very easy for me to find. I spend less time looking around. Yeah,
Squawk and newsfeed for me. I haven't been using the Squawk like I used to because, like Brian said, they've fleshed out my my platform here with Benzinga Pro to get me the things that I need when I want them.
Yep.
But it's just such a fantastic platform for doing research, or at least finding some of the starting points to doing research that really lead me down the rabbit hole. So,
and it's that rabbit hole that kind of made this all possible, by the way. Like 13, you signed on to the happy hour right when we first started that during COVID. And from that, you just kind of built on all of your skills, charting, looking at financials, understanding SEC reports, which took a while. Took a while to do. You didn't just do that overnight. And all that stuff is put right in front of you and uncovered right there in Pro.
Yeah, really. I mean, once I started reading more into SEC filings and getting a better idea, especially when it comes to these like real junky names and SPACs and whatnot, you get a greater understanding of where all the risks are.
I still go to 13 when I'm asking about something from an SEC filing. Him and Tim Melvin, those are my two biggest resources personally.
I got to give it to Tom and Andy for getting me on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been discussing that with Tom and Andy too. That's another example. Like, that was something that somebody talked about. It proliferated through the group. More people do that now. And as a result, that rising tide lift all the crappy boats.
Michael Anthony is asking, CNBC was saying Monday that markets may follow Bitcoin that read a few minutes ago. And so is the market. The market will turn up to go down now that we should take profits. Okay, so I think you're just asking if we should, based on what Bitcoin is doing and what CNBC was saying, that you're compelled to maybe take profits now. I would ask,
turn CNBC off.
That's what I was going to say. I would say, one, don't listen to CNBC. Two, don't listen to us about when to take profits. You have to make this decision on your own. We can't tell you. And third, what's I mean, where are you at with Bitcoin? I mean, I guess I'm not quite sure what you're in, where you need to take profits, but have a list, have some rules for yourself about when you're taking profits and whatnot. We can't tell you when to do it, but you gotta make this decision on your own, and you gotta there's one other thing I want to say about this, and I'm just trying to form it in my head here. But you want to have a plan for your trades. You don't want to just get into something and go, now what do I do? Always, when you start to get into something, know where you want to get out. Know what you're and protect yourself too. Have areas for your stops. I just don't think it serves you well to just listen to what other people are doing and waiting for their advice. That's my opinion. Bitcoin and IWM following today.
IWM is trading up. Bitcoin is actually down. Bitcoin was actually higher. 92.5 was the morning high. The thing has gotten pounded from that. Actually seeing a little bit of divergence here.
Marty is saying SCOTUS won't decide on tariffs until the first of the year.
Well, I think he is asking the question there. I don't know.
Oh.
Do we know if that's the case?
I don't know. Maybe, let me see if I can find that out. Because that would be a new piece of news that I haven't read yet today. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, you have to give me a second. Sorry for the dead air while I'm looking to see if I can find anything on what he's talking about.
And I'm answering something here for work. Sorry about that. I'll stop here 13 real quick. We'll take a look and roll through some of the things that are moving here.
That's on dividends.
NVS, FRGT, so new highs here. Indeed, pull back to the VWAP, bang, that move through those highs. Really good stuff. Take care of yourself, Big Bear. Hug. Good stuff here today.
Take care, Big Bear. I haven't. I'm not initially seeing anything regarding them making a decision next year. Let me see if I can find some more on that, and I'll have to get back to you. Because if that's the case, then that's certainly a piece of information we want to keep an eye on. Let's write that down so I can look at it later.
Good stuff there on FRGT.
All right.
How's OMA doing? So did that finally stop? Yeah, okay. So OMA also came back to the 90 EMA. We're making a lower high here intraday, though. We'll see if OMA can get back above that initial high that it made. EOSE.
Thinking about it, you're saying that the tariff decision would happen, or I think you mean wouldn't happen until June 2026. And the producer saying the Supreme Court could issue an opinion in the coming months from a CNBC News article. So that's a little ambiguous. But that coming months implies next year. So let's, thank you, producer. That might actually be the thing that we're looking for. But let me see if I can find anything else that gives it a little bit more of a concrete date. I'll be back here tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
SGBX dumping. It's not dumping, but it's certainly looking weak. It's trying to get support from the VWAP. We did get a series of upper shadows over the past 15 minutes. That's leading to this weakness we're seeing right now. So if we lose the VWAP, then I think that you may be on to something about this continuing lower. But let's just see what we get with this candle. It might still be able to hold above it. I think that's what we're going to want to look for next. Can it hold above the VWAP? We're also getting some weakness in SGML. That's down to its VWAP now, too, after hitting 1092.
But I think we called this, right? We called the turnaround point. You guys called it brunch, right? This is exactly I'm Sarah. This is when this all kind of died. And the other thing here about SGML, this was very clear, just went right to that pre-market high and rejected. Now we'll see if it bounces here. We're right at VWAP, so it pulled back down to VWAP here. I don't feel great. Volume's compressing. It's moving from just straight buying volume to more selling volume than anything else. So unless that turns around here, SGML might be done. Yeah, that was a nice move out of the open.
NBIS, it wants. I get the sense that it really wants to fill that gap. So we'll see what happens there. But NBIS pushing up at that trend line again hasn't broken through it yet. And then the other names that we looked at, you can keep them on your radar if you're still trading in the afternoon. But KZIA and EPWK, the two foreign names that are certainly need to raise capital, they haven't really done anything all day. So it's up to you if you want to keep an eye on them. We might see them come back later in the afternoon, but that's up to you if you want to hold your breath for them. I think there'll probably be better things you could trade since they haven't really done anything at all today. Like OMA, which is now printing new session highs. 23.54.
That went right through it. I'm as smitten as a kitten. Marcus, he's back from dropping off his kids. He's long NBIS. He's long OMA. Have a day, son. Have a day. OMA here, breaking that intraday high. Higher we go. Would love to see the volume really tick up in this.
Yeah, I mean,
IWM after Izzy cursed it back down to the VWAP. Just kidding, Izzy, love you.
I don't know where almost going to go today. We were pretty much in the real body of the candle from yesterday. Maybe we continue a little bit higher. 2650 could be a possible spot. Just look at a smaller time frame. Look at yesterday's price action. You'll get some levels out of that price action yesterday that I think you could drop on. Looks like 25 would be another the next big level to go for. If you look at the price action in the pre-market yesterday, we managed to get through 20. I'm sorry, did I say 24? I meant 25. We managed to get through 25, and then when we came back down, we initially found support there all through pre-market until the open. Then we lost 25. So 25 looks like a big resistance spot for OLMA.
Well, I'm with you on that. Cam here asking about NVIDIA. Cam says, 13 and Ryan, what are your guys' predictions for NVIDIA earnings? To the moon, to the depths of the ocean level? I'll be very specific here. I think NVIDIA beats on top and bottom line and raises guidance and then trades flat-ish. In other words, I don't think it makes the implied option move. Let me actually see what that is here for NVIDIA. We won't have the article for it yet, but I should be able to get that here. NVIDIA pricing in, or options are pricing in a $12 about move in NVIDIA. I don't think we get that. I think it's actually less than that. And I think probably if I had to pick, it goes to the downside. So I'm thinking less than a $12 move to the downside on the back of a double beaten race. How's that for being specific?
That's a lot more specific than I care to be, because I'm not quite sure. And the reason I say that is because I know that they're getting a lot more business. We just talked about how Saudi Arabia is really trying to make this push for like new energy infrastructure, new data center infrastructure, new entertainment infrastructure. They want to build a whole long city from one coast to another. I mean, they have plans. And if those plans include NVIDIA, then the stock should do really well. I just don't know exactly what's going to be talked about by Jensen today. I don't know what they're going to announce in terms of deals that we haven't learned about yet. So there's too much uncertainty around what they're going to announce today that I would like to make any prediction for. But if they're anything like the last earnings, chances are it's probably going to go higher on great news. But that's not my prediction. I'm just saying that that's just been the pattern. FRGT again, that's still doing well. And then NOEM is done. This is the Frozen King. You want me to look at SPCB? Sure, look at SPCB. Supercom. What do we got?
What's the ticker there? Sorry, I was taking a look at X here.
SPCB.
SPCB. We've traded that one a whole bunch.
We have. This one actually had earnings last week. Really, I think that might have been what we traded this on. Really good earnings. There was an expectation of a 12-cent loss on EPS, adjusted EPS. They beat by 30. They beat 30 with a 39-cent adjusted EPS. Massive beat over the expectations. This week they've won contracts in Missouri. Seem to have news coming out every other day at this point now. But the news today is that they won the first state-level Department of Corrections contract in the United States.
For a nationwide expansion.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I forget what this company does. This is a digital identity solutions.
So it's the theme that we've been talking about?
Now, this is something we're going to have to ask about in Happy Hour, because when you look at what this company does, it's a provider of traditional and digital identity solutions, providing safety, identification, tracking, security products to governments and organizations. I wonder if the bill or the that we were talking about with Geo might have something that might also have some of that go to Supercom as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is very interesting. I appreciate you bringing this up. Let's look at the chart here, because there might be something, it might be something of a theme happening here. We'll have to get back to you on that. But today we are trying to recapture the 200-day SMA after losing it on Friday. Spent a couple of days this week trying to recapture it. And today we are back above it I think we just need to see if it will close above the 200-day SMA. Next resistance after that, $10. Take care, Richard.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Judge. IDAI back down. So I'm so glad I sold some of this. IDAI back down to 4. This actually looks like it wants to peak lower. We had VRSN reported earnings recently. I think they're also in that theme. They've moved down. I wonder about VRME. I haven't checked that in a little bit. That's back in penny territory.
And then let's see, there was another one too. It's like
well, was you part of that Clear Secure?
That was a little bit, but it was more on the theme with
the airport, the government shutdown airport traffic. Yeah, sure.
And it worked. It worked pretty well. It got all the way up to 38.71. When we were talking about it, this was down at 31, in that handle. So really nice move off of that theme, but it is coming back in, losing 35 in the process.
SGBX, check out our trend line. It's still obeying such trend. Look at the wicks that popped up to the trend line and literally stopped there. Oh man, that makes me laugh every time I see it. There's just no way around it.
SGML looks like this is trying to shoot for the session highs again. We sold a little bit down to the VWAP, got some support around $10, just a little bit above $10. Reversed. Now we're trying to come back up towards the 1092 high.
Yeah, Izzy, IWM rolled back over there, but let's see what it's. You were talking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had a lot more weakness, right? Like Bitcoin actually gave up its lows. IWM is still green. It's given back a lot of its gains, but it's still green here. Bitcoin down almost 3%.
Yeah, NBIS did pull back. This is, it was trying to get back up into that over that neckline area or that low from October 22nd. A little bit of a rejection there. We'll see if this can recover later. It might need to come back down towards the trend line, or I'm sorry, this is a horizontal line. This 87.11 that I have here. I think this is from the it's from the November 2021 high. So that was a support and resistance area back then. I'm sorry, that was actually a resistance area back then. It has since become a support and resistance area when we broke through that level on September 9th.
Whole market is kind of just regressing back to the mean here, pulling off the high spot. Dow, Qs, SPY, IWM, all doing the same thing. Bitcoin resuming its move to the lows.
Oh yes, we have lost 665. That's been the kind of an important level to recapture.
Palantir's rolling over. That's actually going for the day lows there. God, PLTZ was probably a good intraday trade. I didn't have it on today though.
Let's see what happens down at 663 with the SPY. If you look at the pre-market, that was kind of where we were topping out at a good portion of the morning. Just couldn't really get too many prints above 663. A majority of rejection came around there. And we went down and found support at 660, launched through 663. Now we're coming back down to it as support. So 663 going to have to be that support area that works. Otherwise, lower we go. FRGT is killing it.
So is NUVB. Kathy, another one. Kathy, maybe I missed your answer earlier. I don't think you answered me, though. Was this the one that you were mentioning recently, or was there another one? Another one in the biotech space. I feel like that was a big ripper here in the morning.
Man, freight technology is just massive. Another almost 100% ripper here. I think it might have been 100% ripper when it was at its higher prints.
And regarding the questions about the VWAP, VWAP told the story here in FRGT today. Use that as support the entire day here. Now starting to push away from that.
Let me look and see. Yeah, just kind of traded all on both sides of VWAP until we had this breakout at 1040. It's fantastic.
Plug rolling over after that, tried to go higher. Hood on the scanner. Hood pulled back as well. I don't have any setups here right now for new trades. I'm sorry.
No, it's I'm there with you, and the rest of the day will provide some setups for us. After the morning, I'm kind of like just a little bit patient, waiting for things to set up. But when we start to see that volume return to the market, there are a lot of great trades that end up happening, and sometimes I have a better afternoon than I do
Afternoon, me
morning.
too.
So
Me too.
if you're done for the day, great. Go have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. And don't stick around and potentially lose money. But if you're still trading today, then I'm right there with you, because I haven't had a whole lot of things happen. Wow, we have NBIS really coming in now. It's down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
And we have Ulma going higher. I guess this pulled off the high spot, but this took another leg higher here over the past 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
NUVL, thank you, Kathy. That's so close. No wonder I confused it, Kathy. NUVL was the one that you were talking about that had the big. This is it. This was it from Monday. This was it from Monday. I actually wonder if this could get back up to 112. Oh, sorry.
This, let's see. I don't know what to make of the pattern we're seeing here yet, but we could get a cup with handle. Hopefully, we don't get a double top. So I think that we're gonna.
Sorry to change gears here real quick, 13, but I'm seeing a whole bunch of NVIDIA sweeps just came across. These are for the December. One of these is a leap into January of 2027. All of these to the upside here. 205, 200, 235 even on that. So it looks like multiple sweeps, aggressive option buys there on NVIDIA. 13, I'm sorry.
No worries. So I guess when it comes to NUVL, let's see if it can hold 100. I'm not necessarily sure that that's the amount we need for a pullback handle, but that's certainly an area of support. So let's see what happens if it comes down there in UVL, because this thing did have a really nice rip up to the what is this, the all-time highs? Looks like it. There's another afternoon means what time Eastern in your estimation? I'd say somewhere between 1 and 2. You start to typically see the majority of people that left to come back.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the afternoon session is really what, like 1 to close, right? So 1 to 4 Eastern time. That's what I consider the afternoon. Midday is probably 11 to 1, and then the morning is everything pre-11.
Yeah. So
that's how I generally look at it.
So pretty much like from that 10:30 time until I would say maybe about a little bit after 1. That's when you get all the people that go out and have their brunch or lunch or whatever, and then they all come back. Hey, thanks, Wiz. Take care. And then we start seeing more of that volume return, and that's just and it usually happens from about 1 to 3 p.m. and then from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. you typically get power hour, which we love.
Love it. Wiz, take care of yourself. Yeah, it's actually almost time for story trading here. RGTZ bouncing, by the way, trying to go above the VWAP.
Well, you know what? I still had a great time today. We had some really nice moves.
I missed Google, and I'm kind of kicking myself about that, to be quite honest with you, because that was a no-brainer. But it's okay. Still having a pretty nice day, nonetheless.
We finally got some life out of EPWK. That went up to the trend line finally, but still not a lot of volume. So I'm not expecting this to be great or anything. Maybe it does. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say also, we talked earlier about the VIX, how that was, I think we talked about that possibly coming into 20. VIX came into 22. That's pretty much right back to where it opened, though, just thereabouts.
Yeah, I would like to see that come under 20. Maybe we get that today, maybe not. There was another one. So Bitcoin dropping below 90. I was saying earlier this week we might end up seeing 85 by Thanksgiving. It looks like we could get it much sooner if we continue with this.
I'll tell you what, the Bitcoin move down. The added benefit of the Bitcoin move down is we dragged Jamie Dimon out of his cave back into the chat. I could not be happier about that. We didn't see him when Bitcoin was trading above 100 and 120,000. He just disappeared, but now he's back, and we need that. We need his sass. We need his diamond hands sass for the show. So really good to see him. Everything's still pulling here. Market is actually starting to accelerate to the downside. A lot of the individual names are doing the same. The Costco bounce is being obliterated. New lows for PayPal. Tesla coming right back into the lows. Even the safe haven Apple is rolling over here.
Yeah, I mean, in those levels for Bitcoin that you're talking about by Thanksgiving, I don't disagree with those at all. It could be that low. I just don't know really where the bottom is going to be with the sell off by that time, but it certainly looks like we are heading towards some of those smaller levels from here. But I think I think I need to wrap this up, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
let's see. All of story trading is here, I think. Let me make sure.
Excellent. Let me get out of here so we can make way for them, folks. Fantastic day. Lots of great trading here. Looking forward to more of it tomorrow. We'll find those movers. We'll trade them, and we'll find some that aren't on the list that have the ability to run. Keep an eye on some of these other movers. Looks like they're finding some support. But until tomorrow, folks, have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right, really good stuff. As always, 13, we will see you tomorrow, and we'll see him back on Happy Hour here tonight. 13's departure leaves room for the story trading gentleman. Let me start with Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Good. What a crazy, just the last 10 minutes. What the hell just happened? All right.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure that out myself.
We got also Godfather couldn't make it today, so we have laptop travel here in the studio. Is he here yet?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, who is this person I've never seen? Should I bring him on?
You're going to love him. Bring him on. He's an analyst filling in for Godfather Knows.
I can't argue. Laptop travel, that's pretty good. Ben, let me go ahead and throw your screen on. Folks, enjoy. I'll be back in about a half hour.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ryan. Wow, this is insane what just happened right now. You won't believe it, but in my morning note this morning, I said 606 resistance on QQQ. That was roughly where the 50 DMA was. Now it actually rose a little bit to close to 607. When I wrote my morning note this morning at 6 in the morning, that didn't update yet on my chart. So I was still working on 606. Oh, that's 606.16. This is crazy. Before we get any deeper, just welcome, introduce Laptop Travel here. Has been part of our Discord community for several months now. He is one of our kind of like a Godfather level in terms of his ability to do fundamental analysis. And, you definitely do it story trading flavor where you're looking at markets holistically. You're not only looking at the fundamentals, you look at the catalysts and the sentiment and technicals as well. And that's why I love you. That's why we brought you on to be part of the community. Why don't you introduce yourself, Laptop Travel?
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks, Ben, and Rhett here, too. I want to thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of like an OG. I've been around a long time. Started trading in 1981, went through the October 87 crash, and been through every other bull market, bear market, whatever. And even .com. I was kind of involved with some players in .com, and been a lot of years experience. He was fortunate enough to have lunch with Warren Buffett.
I hear Laptop Travel's voice, but I don't see his mouth moving. Is his video frozen?
I'm having a tough time.
I hear you fine.
Okay, I think I'm having a tough time with Cloudflare issue.
Oh, there you go.
There
now.
you go.
Okay.
You're moving now.
You started moving.
All right.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm extremely happy to be in the community with story trading. I'll tell you, for a long time, the word Discord was a 4-letter word for me. And I just think that's from so much spam. But being a part of this community, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to scam you. We're straight. We're honest. I absolutely want to take all my years of experience and just share it with everybody. I really spend a lot of time in what I call the 4 a.m. warriors. We try to do a lot of pre-market. I throw a lot of information, a lot of charts. You like it or hate it, but I probably give you information overload. And I have to say that being with Ben in this Discord has helped me be able to communicate and give direction to people in a different way. So I'm very thankful, very humble.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Anyway, he does have the awesome credibility there, especially with the analysis. We'll talk about that. Look, but just real quick, there are a couple sectors that were real hot today that we had some winners in. Obviously, that's nuclear and rare earth space. TMDX, $1 million insider buy by the CEO. This is a large position in my retirement account. I don't know, because it's like an NVIDIA day. I just hesitated. I'm not sure. Also, the spreads were not so, were pretty big in pre-market. So it hit my target today at the 20 DMA. So there's some individual alpha out there still, despite this crazy market win. I'll talk about a small cap that just had news minutes ago. But before we do that, Laptop and Ray, I mean, we got FOMC at 2 p.m. We have NVIDIA earnings at 4:20 p.m. We have the QQQ closing below the 50 DMA a couple days ago, getting rejected right at the 50 DMA just moments ago. Importantly, we have Bitcoin just bottom falling out of it for right now, still holding the low from the other night of 89,000. But this is a really, really important thing to watch, because you saw, you may have noticed yesterday, IWM really outperforming QQQ, but even underneath the surface of IWM, you saw risk assets, popular names up 5, 10, 15, 20%. And that was following tick by tick the same intraday pattern as Bitcoin yesterday. So the whole world, investing, trading world, is looking at Bitcoin as a proxy for risk. So those are the things that are on my mind, is what's Bitcoin going to do? You know, how are NVIDIA earnings going to be, and how then will that impact the QQQ in relation to the 50 DMA? You know, there's some big support at 587 to 589. The daily chart, if you switch to the weekly, it's easier to see this support here at the 20-week moving average, and some of the candle support at 587 to 589. But if NVIDIA misses, you know, you're heading towards the 200 day moving average, and I think can get there in a matter of days, or it's 5 to 10 days or something. That's my macro take, Laptop. What are your thoughts?
So I lived through October '87, so I can tell you that a 22% drop in a single day is possible. That's what we had that Monday. Yep. So I think given the market and its uneasiness right now, and the apprehension about Fed rates, I think we could have a significant drop if NVIDIA doesn't come through here.
And what does that mean? Does NVIDIA, is an inline guidance enough to avert that, or do they need to beat guidance?
Absolutely not. Inline guidance is not enough today. The expectation, the sharks are hungry for more and more. And I honestly think we could see 540, 545 in the Qs. And unfortunately, it's coming up on Thanksgiving week. So not a good week for trading.
But I mean, how do we trade that? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's a binary risk event that's unknowable in terms of their guidance. Yeah. So, you know, and I really do think it would just invalidate all the charts. If they beat guidance by a wide margin, you might even gap above the 50 DMA tomorrow morning, and you're off to the races, at least in the near to intermediate term. And obviously the downside is easy to see if they miss. But how do we trade that other than being in a higher cash position than usual?
Well, I can tell you for me that I until just recently, in the last 18 hours, when the Saudi prince was brought out and talking about this partnership with this AI conference with the prince and with Jensen Huang and Elon Musk, it seems the administration's pulling out these names and these big numbers, trying to prop up the market. So until that point, I'm absolutely bearish, and I was buying puts on everything. And I got out of all of that in the pre-market this morning based on the latest changes. So for me, I have to say I'm going to sit here with a box of popcorn and watch and then react. It's not worth the risk to me for a possible pop in a short term. There's
right. I mean, these are the hardest markets for me because the extreme volatility, it really pulls on your emotions, because it goes both ways. The volatility, like, you know, when you do get a bounce, they're violent bounces, and you can have violent bounces in a bear market, right? So it chops me up. It gets me, you know, then you tend to chase because you're like, oh my gosh, now we're up for the day. Like, these risk assets might short squeeze for the day. It might be up like 30%, you know, so you're like chasing to the upside, and then all of a sudden the rug is pulled. It's just crazy emotionally. For me, it's hard to execute on. There are some
I remember DeepSeek. I mean, NVIDIA had a great earnings and had hit a record all-time high that night, and then DeepSeek news came out, and gosh, don't know what the drop was, but it was tremendous.
Yeah.
So I will say long term, not long term, but definitely short term through the end of this year. I'm very bearish on the market. I don't think we have any much fuel left to keep propping this up at this point. And I think a lot of people who've made really good profits, especially since the April drop, are looking to secure those profits. And that being said, I am holding QQQ puts 555 for December 12th.
555 for December 12th.
That's my lotto. I think it's the 12th.
You know, I don't know. The way the market's reacting right now, I might have to join you on that because
it's a lotto. It's a lotto play.
lotto.
I understand. And it is, I'm sorry, December
12th.
December 19th.
December 19th, 555. Let's take a quick look at that on here. 555. They're about $5.80. That sound right?
Yeah.
And that takes you right to that 540 to 550 support area, actually. So if it goes to that 540 to 550 area, if it goes to 540, yeah, it'll triple, but it will be up more than that because you got time too, the time value of that. So interesting thought. Look, this, even though I say it's like unknowable, looking at the price action always like gives me a bias and scares me. And I've been saying this on my morning note for the last couple of days. The market is trading as if they already know what NVIDIA's earnings are going to, not impress, or it's trading as if they already know it's predetermined how they'll react to it, regardless of what they report. That's how the market's trading. And, the recent moves by Peter Thiel and by Michael Burry and by SoftBank kind of lend credence to that. So it's a little bit scary, especially looking at this price action right before they report. So, I might end up buying those lotto puts at just the worst time of the day here. We'll see.
Well, it's been a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde day with this huge rally at the open, and now we just rolled over. So
yeah. Well, Google may have had a lot to do with pulling up the queues, possibly. Well, Google and NVIDIA, but this Gemini release yesterday, man, I was loading up as much Google as I could in my retirement account last night. I don't know why it did not come to my mind to say, I do know. I didn't push it as a short-term trade for the day because I was like, I don't want to play big cap tech on NVIDIA day. So it didn't even come to my mind as a short-term trade for today, but I was loading up on my retirement account last night and the thing just exploded. And obviously I got some regrets that I didn't suggest it or think about it as a short-term trade for the day, but I'm sure that helped the cues in the morning in this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde market, as you just mentioned. I think that's enough on the macro. Rhett, I want to hear your thoughts on the macro in a second, but the other thing I do want to mention is FOMC minutes come out at 2 p.m. And, those minutes are reflective of the discussions a few weeks ago, which we know at the time where they were leading us towards saying maybe no third rate cut. So I expect maybe some negative headlines on that coming out at 2 p.m. Be careful about that. But I do think
there's some conflict because I know that at least one of the governors said that he definitely thought that inflation was not a problem and would want to vote for a rate cut.
Right. But maybe the consensus might be, or we'll see. But I thought it felt like, based on Powell's comments and based on some of the Fed speakers proximal right after FOMC last month, it seemed like the consensus was that, hey, don't bet on a third rate cut. That seemed like what the consensus was, and then the betting markets were there too, right? But in the last several days, particularly with this pullback we've seen, not only in QQQ, SPY, but underneath with the risk assets, probably a lot of retail's losing money on the year now. People who are over levered or came in late into the hot sectors, they're probably losing money this year. And I think the Fed, even though they'll never admit it, I think they do look at the stock market to help their decision making. I think they understand the wealth effect and the reverse wealth effect that it can have on demand. So I think those will be part of their decision making without them ever saying it. And I think that's part of the reason why in the betting markets you're seeing an increased chance of a rate cut. It flipped the last couple of days, and now most people are thinking we will get that third rate cut. So what I'm trying to say is you can have a negative headline at FOMC 2 p.m. Who knows? Maybe that ends up being a little bit of a buying up. I don't know. Listen, another question for me is if NVIDIA shits the bed and it takes down the Qs, will that also take down, Bitcoin towards? I was saying your ultimate support's really down here. You see it. It's obvious.
Low
So
70s,
it
yeah.
sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah, it sticks out like a sore thumb. That's where I got that number, by the way. Laptop travel, 75,000. Would an NVIDIA miss cause Bitcoin to head towards 75K? And if the answer to that is yes, that's freaking scary for any stock that retail might be in. Like any small cap, any growth, even if it's fairly valued, can get demolished, I think.
So in our news,
if
so in my
Bitcoin makes a move
newsletter,
to 75,000.
well, at least the night before about this, where I'm very bearish, is I put a chart out, and I see Bitcoin on a negative for NVIDIA. I see it going to 74 to 66.5, which is really ugly. Now, here's the added kicker on that. You talk about other stocks and companies. Think of how many companies have committed to crypto treasuries since April, and all those companies.
How do we play this, man? Do we have a lotto on that?
If you don't have a lot on
A
that,
lotto
on
hedge on that?
BTC, I mean, you just go MSTR. They're going to get destroyed on this.
MSTR puts?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you already seen it until now.
All right, you know what? We gotta have an afternoon stream at like 3:00 and figure out how we're gonna hedge against all these different scenarios, because it's escalator up, elevator down when it comes to this, and I think it might be warranted to have some hedge. Even though I hope and I have a sneaky suspicion that NVIDIA will beat the guide, but the downside is just so extreme that you have to prepare for it.
Yeah, it's a lotto play. I mean, there's nothing wrong with some insurance. Think of it that way, an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rhett, any final thoughts on the macro before we move into some individual
Yeah,
names?
I'm not gonna trade this going in. I'm just gonna sit on the sidelines and just react to what unfolds here, and then go from there. I think, especially in the options, you're gonna see a huge IV crush. I mean, we're already seeing it today, how overpriced all these options contracts are going into these events.
Yeah. All right, let me point out some individual stocks that I am playing and that I will probably hold through this craziness, which might not be a good idea, but that's what I'm doing. First one is a CWAN here. Rumors of a buyout, more than just rumors. These are leaks, probably by Goldman Sachs to the media. There's some sort of auction going on. They're trying to sell PE companies, firms trying to buy CWAN. I always thought that there should be a pattern behind these leaks, because I've noticed pretty good correlations between stuff you see in Bloomberg and then buyout later. But now that I have AI, I should actually do that study. I'm like, oh, I wish I could figure out what the correlations are. Well, now I did it. All right, I figured out what the correlations are, and based on the timing and wording and target publications of these leaks coming out on this potential developing buyout, it fed that all into ChatGPT and Grok, and they both came out positive. The consensus view after I had both of the AIs challenge each other was that there's a 75% chance that CWAN will be bought out for $25 to $30 within 2 to 4 weeks. Now, I think there was a report that Laptop Travel you were referencing, it came out, that was on Bloomberg yesterday or this morning, retransmission today, saying a buyout is being targeted for 30 to 35.
30 to 34.
30 to 34. So let's just call it $25 to $34 possible buyout range within the next few weeks. So this is something I'm swinging through all this volatility with common shares and call options. So that's something you can look at. Another name, breaking news that just came out, is SPCB, Supercom. This stock is so ridiculously cheap, always has been ridiculously cheap, but just became much, much more ridiculously cheap about an hour ago. This is a company that does, I think it's like ankle bracelet monitoring. I'm not sure exactly how their product works or how it is differentiated by what Geo offers. But earlier this year, they were winning many contracts. with their offering, and their PE is like really small, like under 10. But then this morning, just about an hour ago, they announced their first state level contract ever. Okay, first state level contract ever. This is for the state of Arizona. Okay, they just won this contract, and then they're saying this award marks a significant milestone in Supercom's U.S. expansion strategy. You can go and find that press release. Record net income of $6 million in the first 9 months. Record net income of $6 million in the first 9 months, saying along with a strong balance sheet. So I had both AIs like Grok and ChatGPT looking at this, and they were pretty much blown away, especially Grok. They're like, this thing's worth $20 today, right now. And that this press release today de-risks this even much further and is an inflection point catalyst, basically, which should be bought. So I added SPCB to my short-term trading account today through, I think, I bought as high as 926. I started buying it like 885 or something. So 885 through 926. I also bought it in my retirement swing account at 926. Sometimes, the valuation is just too compelling, and the catalyst, looks like an inflection catalyst, which is what I look for. So even against this market backdrop, that's a risk I'm willing to take here on Supercom today, SPCB. So those are two individual stocks I'm looking at. Obviously, I missed the Transmedics. I called it. It was a top pick on my morning note this morning, but unfortunately, I didn't play it. And other than that, all this stuff, everything else on my list is really being pushed around by Bitcoin and QQQ, and I don't know that any of these things can buck the market trend today or tomorrow. I think every single stock I'm clicking on right now, I think is probably at the mercy of NVIDIA earnings tonight. But those other two, I like through the volatility. So if you have any thoughts on those two I mentioned, Laptop, go ahead. And then if you have any individual stocks, go for it.
Yeah, so SPCB, I mean, that's an Israeli company, and they do, like you say, they do a lot of things. They do digital identity and biometrics. It kind of reminds me of Gatekeeper. I think Money Mark stock. That ideal for them is that they get these contracts, right? They get these state or government contracts. It's always been a good thing. I really like your analysis on the evaluation, which I read in the Discord, and surprised that Grok was as positive about it as it was. But I like that.
Okay, that's SPCB, and we don't need to rehash CWAN. I think
No.
I think a lot of people in our community are in that. So go ahead. What's on your radar? Anything anything that can buck the market trend here?
Well, yeah. So regardless, I mean, I've been beating the drum about this, is going forward, technology and these AI data centers and everything, they're going to need power, right? They're going to need chips and all this. So I'm really big on lithium right now, because it's being required for this. It's sort of like a rare earth mineral, but it's not. So one of my picks tonight is LAR, which is it's a Swiss company out of Switzerland, but their operations are in Argentina. And
oh, look at this chart! Wow,
yeah,
lithium's been on fire, huh?
Yeah, and this company I think has been up six. Oh, I forgot. I said this company has been up six out of the last 7 days in a row, maybe more than that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the last 9 days, it's been green, and it's very green today. So I like lithium, and we're going to continue to see this global struggle for resources, and this is a really strong play here, and I really like them. And they have plans to scale their output from 40,000 tons annually to potentially their target is 200,000 tons. Well, and then if the price is figured into that, then that's you're going to see, you're going to see a 5x on that. So I like that really well. The company is well managed. Again, it's a Swiss company, and technically, I think it's really good. And recently, everything's just lined up for this company. They had really good results in the third quarter of 2025, and expanding their two big lithium fields in Argentina. And so the timing of this for them, can't be any better with what's going on. It's been undervalued for a while. Just today, we've hit all-time highs for the price of lithium. So just like any
Wow.
other precious metal, think of it that way. It's almost like buying gold, but it's not just. I mean, it's very heavily into the tech and for future tech, so we know that. So I really like that. And of course, the stock has rocketed today. It's up another 65 cents today. It's selling for
Yeah.
543 right now. When I put this together, I think we were at 470, in the 470s when I put together my analysis for it. And the next company I like is, I really like this. This is not just a lotto play. This is almost a guarantee as long as everything doesn't go sideways. It's a biotech. I love biotech when you find one that's really going to work. It's called Cohen and or Quan, and the symbol is QNRX. That's Quebec Nancy Romeo X-ray, and it's a specialty.
Oh, whoa! Look at this chart.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
one that has really done
15
well.
million market cap.
Yeah, real small
Mm.
market cap, about 200 million. And so this company is,
200 million is the market cap.
yeah, just under.
Okay, so this is old data. They just did an offering or something, because this is Weeble's showing like 800,000 shares outstanding. So that's wrong. That's not updated, I guess, right?
So the company right now currently has no debt. Okay, it's not net positive in revenue, of course. It's still in R&D. They have enough cash to go through the quarter of 2026. Price targets are at $70. That's like 260%
Wow.
upside here. And their second quarter loss beat the estimate. So I mean, they're burning cash. That's true. But
Mhm.
the big thing is they're the only ones that have a solution for this. It's called a Netherton syndrome. It's a devastating condition, and there's no approved treatments. They'd be like the only one in the world, and they're expanding into other formulations for other lymph node and venous or veins malformations. And so now they have, working with the United States headquarters.
Dude, we got a little trouble here. Sorry, go ahead. Nothing. I thought Bitcoin hit a new low. Not
Okay.
yet. Another $400. Okay.
And they have global partnerships covering 60 countries. Now, they're getting FDA double orphan drug perks, like exclusivity, of course, and then of course premium pricing, because no one else has this. And they're talking about online. It's going to be $100,000 per patient per year. And the FDA is giving them incentives to speed up their development, and potentially a $10 billion space growing for this. And they're the only ones doing this. I really like it. And the chart is it's kind of still new, but it looks very, very promising.
There you have it. QNRX. I added it to my watch list here. I had to delete something else to make room for that. By the way, look at the relative strength in EOSC today after
And
that offering
TMDX.
last night. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, which upsets me because that was a top pick this morning that I didn't act on. Yeah, the relative strength in EOSC looks interesting here after that offering, and U.S. government getting some warrants. And what are we gonna do about this, man? this happened so fast, and it happened like just before showtime. We were Rhett and I. We were trying to play MSTR puts the other day.
Yeah,
Did he
yesterday.
get back into that?
No, I
Rhett?
did
Did he
not get back into that yet. I'm watching this now, and I mean,
You
look
better
at
watch
it. It's down
Bitcoin.
9%
I
today.
know.
It should have
I
just held
know.
one more
I'm
day.
looking at Bitcoin. Look at the 30-minute chart. I mean, that's ugly.
Yeah, it's very.
Look at this. This is ugly. We got to get on another stream shortly, maybe, and figure out how to hedge against what might happen, because I'm particularly concerned about Bitcoin and the impact it's going to have on risk assets if this dumps. Could get very ugly, guys.
Yeah, I don't want to
without a
go through
doubt.
this again. I went through this in '87. I don't want to see this again, but I've seen it before, and I have the same feeling. That's why I've been so bearish.
I tell you what, we
Yeah.
got to watch out for this level. It's around it's the 89,250, right around there. If we break that on Bitcoin, watch out below there. I think we'll see the mid 80s for Bitcoin in the near term future for that. See a
Yeah.
flush.
We'll have to get Dougie on. I think I'm gonna give myself like an hour break, take lunch or something, but then I think we're gonna jump on a stream and figure out how to protect
Well,
ourselves from these
my
different
upper
scenarios.
band for the first hit is 77, and after that is 74.
Yep. Are you gonna do anything about it, or just watch?
Oh no, yeah, I'm probably short.
But you're not shorting yet.
Not shorting yet.
When are we gonna do that?
Ben hunting for answers there. I love it.
Yeah.
Where's Dogger?
I absolutely love it. All right. Real good stuff here, guys. Thanks again. And we'll see you next week.
Take
All
care.
right. That is
Take
the
care.
story
Thanks,
trading,
guys.
folks. Ben, Rhett, and Laptop Travel. Still do really love that name. Really good stuff
Thank
here again, folks. All right. We're done here for today. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Good luck for NVIDIA earnings if you do end up playing them. We're going to break it all down tomorrow when we are back here. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Good luck on the print.